We're live.
Hello, Internet. Did you not fix this mic yet?
No, you
All
got
right.
too close, man.
This is your de facto show host, Just Connor. We got him. He's the only man that makes this show possible. Without him, we wouldn't have a studio. Papa Chanis, DJ Lightbright.
Hi there, audience. Welcome to the podcast.
And he looks like he should be trolling. He looks like he does troll a college campus. Michael.
Thank you.
Woo.
Hello. I'm getting my master's in stuff.
And today we got another special guest. We have Denise Rogers from a local pride organization just outside of the Austin area from Taylor Pride. How's it going?
Hi there. How are y'all? Yep, the leader of the gays in Taylor. That's what they call me. Yeah.
That's cool.
So how did y'all get your organization started there? Because usually that's something, especially with it being like outside on the edge of a metro area. Usually groups like this only are heard about in properly like in the middle of cities.
Yeah. Well, we were the first LGBTQ nonprofit organization to even exist in Williamson County.
Wow.
So, actually, it was kind of early pandemic.
Can you just move the mic closer to you?
Closer? Tell me. How's this?
Oh, that's
a little
great.
More? Are you
About right
pranking me? What's happening?
Oh, there you
No.
That's good? Okay.
Yeah, it's excellent.
We early pandemic, we we're all stuck at home and feeling super isolated, and my family is an LGBTQ family, and so just kind of really understanding those needs. Anyway, I started a Facebook group. It was like Taylor LGBTQ plus allies or something like that, like this closed group, and I thought I'd get maybe a dozen or two people that I knew were out in the area.
Yeah.
And instead, in about 2 weeks' time, we got over 300 people.
Wow.
And it was
That's
a closed
pretty
group. It was a private group, too, which was even more surprising. And, so as soon as we all found each other, we knew kind of right away that we needed to do more. And, safety in numbers, power in numbers. So
that just organically grew, people sharing the group with each other?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
200.
And now they're making their own shirts. Go ahead, show everybody
Yeah,
else's logo.
this,
You may want to stand up a little.
This is actually, I'm actually kind of embarrassed.
That's
This is our
cool.
older shirt. Interesting billboard placement. Sorry about that. But we've since updated the logo. But anyway, it's we're the Taylor Ducks. That's our mascot. Everyone asks all the time why we have rainbow ducks, and that's why.
Why did y'all choose ducks?
So it's
The town mascot.
That's the town mascot.
Oh.
We are the Taylor
Is
Ducks.
Taylor like a mostly Republican sort of
No.
town kind of deal? Or is it like a small town area? Like you have like a little square? You know what I mean? Or like town halls in the middle and like there's a courtroom and stuff?
We're not even that fancy.
Really?
That's Georgetown.
Less fancy than
for
Denton.
Williamson County, yeah.
Yeah, that courthouse was just demolished years ago because of how bad it was. The only thing holding that building up was the jail cell underneath.
Oh, no.
So is Taylor just mostly like farmland, or
No.
is it like?
I mean, there is a lot of farmland, yes, out
Okay.
there. It's a pretty
There's
rural,
a lot of ranches?
very rural. Mostly-
I'd say it's kind of like that middle ground. Could you turn the lights back on, Jake?
I was trying to get
Very
that over.
romantic.
I
Okay.
thought we were getting. I see you set in the mood.
So Taylor is actually
I
like
brought out the candles.
so. Also, I'm also from Taylor, as y'all know.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like in the middle between. I don't even know if I would call it suburban, but it's definitely like somehow smack dab in the middle of all three. Like it can what's the word I'm looking for?
Is it a lot like Spicewood, or like?
I think the thing
Lakeway?
that made Taylor a little bit more maybe progressive than some of the other small cities. I mean, it's kind of like the big city for around Thrall, Thorndale, Granger, like all of these smaller
Okay.
rural communities.
Yeah, y'all got the
But we have
Maxwell.
the train station. We have
Don't
an
get it
Amtrak
wrong. It's still
station.
not going to be like Austin. So
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's still just fields of corn and cotton and that sort
okay.
of thing. Yeah, but we do have the train depot and that.
There's a train here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, Amtrak.
where's it go?
Wherever you want to go.
it can go all the way to New
Yeah.
Orleans or Los Angeles.
Wait, like Amtrak, like freight trains?
No,
Or-
passenger. Well,
That's
yeah,
why,
both.
okay, that's why I
Yeah,
thought
they're both.
Amtrak.
Amtrak is passenger.
Wow, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know we had a trains thing here.
Mhm.
So like I could
Well-
go to Chicago and
Yeah.
shit from Taylor.
essentially.
Wow.
From Austin, really. So you'll probably catch it in Austin, stop in Taylor, and then
It's
cool.
not a real station. It's just a platform you can
I had no
stand
idea.
on to get on the train.
I had no idea. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Dangerous.
A few factories up there.
yeah. They actually film a lot of movies and TV shows.
Yes,
and
they've
things
done that
there
for a
as
long
well. It's
time.
kind of been we have this really beautifully preserved downtown area that,
Oh.
if you've seen, what is it, Transformers 3, 4?
It was number 4. Don't
Don't even mention it. Don't bring it up. Don't talk
that's
about
the one
it.
with Mark
We don't talk about
Wahlberg.
it.
Okay, but let's get back on track here. So you're telling us you got started with a Facebook page and just blew up out of nowhere on you.
It did. It did. And
Now, how did that transition to an actual organization happen?
So it was pandemic, but we all knew, since we found each other and we found so many allies, that we should do something. Pride Month was around the corner, so we hosted a virtual Pride that had, we had guest speakers and bands that pre-recorded and sent in.
Oh, that's cool.
We had a DJ that hosted live for us the whole time, and it was like a 3-hour festival, online festival. We had 1,500 people tune in live.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and it was a time when people just really needed community and something. We had all been stuck in our house for 4 months,
So,
and
was this in July? I think
this was late June of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, there was that little window in 2021 in the summer when they let us out of our houses and said we could all hang out again.
Mhm.
And so we hosted a street festival. It was the first one ever in Williamson County.
Yeah.
And no one was at that time still, there wasn't an Austin Pride. Houston, all the big cities weren't doing anything.
Wow.
So
Wait, are you saying Austin didn't even have a
not
chapter or
in
anything?
well,
In
in
21.
2021 they didn't host a
They
Pride
didn't host
festival.
anything.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So
Everything
God.
was still shut down. Like they
Mhm.
weren't having concerts. I think some bars weren't even open.
No,
actually,
it was
back
just
then.
that little window in the summer, right? They started to let us
Yeah.
out right before Delta showed up.
Uh-huh.
So, so we did. We hosted a street festival, and it was rad. It was really awesome,
Yeah.
and we just haven't stopped since then. As soon as that happened, we figured, okay, we need to make this for real. We need to be legit, and because it costs a lot of money to throw a festival.
Yeah.
And
How does that work? How did you get to start to?
we
do a
became
festival?
we actually became a 501
What is it?
nonprofit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so we spend the year soliciting donations, and we're a legit organization now, but we do a lot more than the festival. We have we support youth year round,
Mm-hmm.
with a couple of different youth programs that we do. We support parents, and then we do fun stuff too, like host
Mm-hmm.
drag brunches and things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did y'all organize the drag time story hour at the library? Oh no, wait, that's not what I'm thinking of. There's something along that line. I can't remember what it is exactly.
Drag time story. I thought that.
I
Was,
don't think it's a story.
I thought that
hour. Is
was
it?
illegal.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's
I'm
coming.
just joking.
It's coming. No, we
I'm
have
thinking
had
of some
youth drag.
charity thing where it involves guys dressing up. I can't remember what it is. Never mind.
Your birthday party?
Are you thinking
Oh.
extravaganzas? I think is what it's called, or something.
I don't know. I usually just scroll past the stuff as it gets posted up to the community Facebook page. It's like, oh, okay, they're doing something.
We have caused quite a bit of controversy with our drag committee. So I mean,
Really?
we're a legitimate organization.
What's
we have
the-
committees.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
yeah. That was something that just happened back in December that came up.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over that real
sure,
quick?
y'all want to go there? We can
Yeah.
go
What's,
there.
what's the
So let's-
controversy?
let's start
what
with,
happened? What's the beef?
Let's start with December of 21, I believe, where
Yeah.
it was a what was it, a float or just like
So we our town co-host a holiday parade every year with a religious organization called TAMA, which is Taylor Area Ministerial Alliance, who really have been sort of the unofficial
organizers,
governing body,
unofficial
the
organizers.
unofficial, but they were co-sponsors of the parade, and so in 2021, after so much success with the festival, we had a float in the parade. We have, of course, had drag queens on the float because we have, they're part of our community, and we had all the representation on our float. The float was a little bit of a dig to the controversy around drag queen story time. So we had this really beautiful drag queen, and she was, sitting in front of a fireplace, reading a big giant book, all the things, and our little gingerbread house float. But we did have the drag queens, and there was, great response from the crowd. I mean, it was a big success. So fast forward a year, so we heard nothing for a full year. And then in 2022, we reached out to the city to get the application to apply again, and all the wording on the application had changed to the requirements were that your float had to represent biblical teachings and traditional family values.
Oh,
which excludes,
Church and
pretty
state.
much everyone, right? Like you couldn't have a Hanukkah float. You couldn't, high school cheerleaders couldn't perform if they wanted, right?
Oh, so it was specifically like a Christian, like it became a Christian thing,
right?
Wow.
And so I had
Even
reached
though,
out,
fun fact,
what's that?
less than it's only 2/3 of the country is Christian, yet 95% celebrate Christmas.
Actually, in Taylor, more than 65% do not identify as Christian.
Really?
According to the last census.
Hold on, I am actually surprised by that one.
I know. Well, the few who do identify are pretty loud about it. But yeah, according to the last census, 65% do not identify.
I don't know. I haven't looked at it, but I would assume it would be more like a lot more would identify as non-denominational or something, or they just don't associate.
It would say non-Christian is what it said. So
Okay.
it could be, who knows what they believe, but yeah.
spiritual.
Interesting.
Spiritual, I guess, would
Could
fall
be,
under
yeah.
So
non.
one of the things I don't really go to the parades because I find them all boring anyway, and I only heard about it. A lot of people who probably didn't even go either just pass around the rumor about how supposedly the drag queen was dressed. Would you like to address that one?
I will. So,
No pun.
Addressing a dress situation.
addressing the dress.
That was good.
No, we reached out to the city immediately once we got the application and just let them know, because obviously an application like that sets them up for a lot of potential lawsuits for discrimination, right? And they were unaware of the changes in the application, so they pulled their sponsorship. They gave Tammy the opportunity to correct it, and they wouldn't, so they pulled their sponsorship. And so of course now we're the bad guys, right? We demanded a second parade, our own parade for the holidays, according to the No, we didn't. We didn't. The city decided to host. That was their solution, was to host a separate parade.
Okay, so the city was like, we'll have two separate parades,
Just back
one
to
for
back.
back to back.
Yeah.
Oh, let's stir the pot even more. Then the city was like
a lot of fun, but once the haters caught wind that they were losing sponsorship, then that's when the rumors started, and it was said that we had pole dancing drag queens on our float.
Did you?
Well, there was.
That sounds interesting.
She just said that the drag queen was only sitting in front of a fireplace. I'm assuming because it's early December, there's like plenty of cover up.
Well, we had two drag queens. One was sitting and reading, and one was standing up at like a microphone, lip syncing to Mariah Carey, because it's holidays, right?
Yeah.
And there's a bar on the float that they have to hold on to, so it's a stability pole, right? Like the little half pole.
I see how things are getting twisted.
Do you see?
I
see where I'm going with this?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Now.
So even though
So
there was
for safety reasons, they're getting accused of putting strippers up
They
there.
made it sound way more erotic than what it actually
Absolutely.
was.
Absolutely.
And if y'all sold it like that, and I went to it, I would have been a little
Probably
disappointed.
a much bigger turnout.
Yeah.
And they would have definitely been banned from coming back ever again.
Yeah, but I mean, the experience though, you can't deny that would have been great.
Yeah. So
So
anyways,
I'm only
sorry.
asking this because this is also another thing that was brought up in conversations.
sure.
So from what I've heard from other people about this, coming from you're aware of the perspective we're talking about here, is some people saying like, why have a LGBT float or display going down the parade for a Christmas parade?
Well, first I'll say it's not a Christmas parade; it's a holiday parade, and there are dozens of holidays that happen during that season, not just Christmas. So our float actually had, and believe it or not, the gays celebrate Christmas. I mean, don't tell anyone, but we do.
Wow,
we do.
that's a shocker.
I know it.
I didn't know that.
Some of us even go to church and, still believe in the little baby Jesus.
Get out of here.
Believe it or not. So, they have every right to celebrate the holiday and be in the float just like anyone else. But also, too, Taylor's a lot more diverse than they'd like to believe. We allowed people on our float to represent all of their holidays. So we had Kwanzaa representation on there, Hanukkah. And then we had representation of all the different types of families that are in Taylor. So, 2 mom families, 2 dad families, families with drag queens. I mean, we look all kinds of ways in Taylor, believe it or not.
So it was just a float to celebrate the different winter holidays with a LGBT flair to it, I guess. That's the best word I can come up with.
Well, I mean, we always have flair,
you
but
know,
yes.
you know what I mean.
No. We absolutely had, a rainbow.
Don't you think that it's a little ridiculous how this is still it's a little ridiculous that you kind of have to explain yourself to things that it's not really anyone's business. You know what I mean?
There was another thing just from the other month when the city council, they were having another meeting on this very same thing. And I just saw so this other online show, never heard of it before, called Texas Values. They were out there, they were out front of City Hall, essentially complaining about it, just doing their little live show.
Wait, who was complaining about what?
The show called Texas Values. I'm using air quotes because
Texas Values.
That is not my values, what they're doing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So they were essentially out there doing a live stream outside of City Hall while the city council is once again discussing this issue. And let's just say they're the ones on the side, just talking smack about the whole thing in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. Isn't that a little weird though?
Yeah.
I feel like if everyone would try to be a part of the community, which is y'all are, and that's what you're saying in your float, is that's y'all are representing all of Taylor's community, and you have this section over here, kind of, I don't know how to word it, but they're isolating themselves, and they're saying no, we're the Taylor community almost, or I guess you could say this about the whole country or the world or whatever, I guess. But
yeah, it's very polarizing. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And we just actually, we've done dozens of interviews since then, and that group keeps saying the same thing. They're really trying to preserve old Taylor, or what Taylor truly is, and
which has always been the number one thing I have always found the most annoying growing up there. It's those of us growing up, those of us now, we don't want what you originally wanted. We want something different.
Yeah.
Well, and as the census shows, statistically, that is not what Taylor is, right? That is not. I know they say that that's what Taylor is, and they're trying to preserve it, but it's really not. Honestly,
there's the same group of people who back in the day skipped on I-35 going through there. They voted no on that. They said no to airport, which went down to ABIA, and now they're still trying to pull this bullshit and all of it. So
they're afraid of progress. The reality is we are building the world's largest semiconductor plant in Taylor, right? Samsung is coming. Samsung is being built in Taylor. There will be nothing small or traditional or conservative about Taylor ever again. Not that there is now, but it'll forever be changed. And so I understand the fear behind that much change, and it's coming very quickly, but it's happening. There's no slowing it down, right? There's no voting against it at this point.
And put it back in the box.
Exactly. You can't put it back in the box. It's happening.
Right.
So.
Oh, you'd be surprised at some of the stuff that's getting passed in the state legislature.
Oh.
That whole now property owners get to opt out of ETJs.
What's an ETJ?
Extraterritorial jurisdiction that a local city has control over.
Huh. Interesting.
Little small communities that don't maybe have a post office.
No, individual landowners can do it.
They can do it now. Interesting.
So now we're starting to get a little off topic again. So we really went
So,
down a bit of a rabbit.
You,
Okay,
you,
go.
you
Mike.
said yourself that you were a LGBT family.
We are.
So who is I guess are you
like
a
who
lesbian?
identifies?
Yeah, I guess.
No, so I.
I don't know. Is that
identify-
rude to ask? I'm
no,
sorry.
it's not rude at all.
Okay.
Not rude at all. And it's always best to ask than to assume, right?
Yeah, I
So,
didn't want to. Yeah.
Certainly. No. So I am pansexual.
What is that?
Pansexual?
If you-
Is it very similar to
To explain
bi?
I know what it
Yeah,
is. Explain it
okay.
to Jake. I know what it is.
I'm clueless.
And that's even, you know what, I will say that pansexual and bisexual, some use them interchangeably, some use them very specifically.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on the person.
Mhm.
For me personally, I mean, I'm attracted to people and the connection I have
Okay.
with humans, and I'm not really particular about
It-
their
you know-
body parts or how they identify, or I just like
Yeah, that makes sense.
people for people.
Yeah.
I have a daughter who identifies the same way.
Okay.
I have another daughter who is transgender, non-binary.
Oh.
And then I have a son who's just like a super ally. It's
Mhm.
really
Cool.
amazing. Yeah.
How old's your daughter? And how is that? What was that experience like? And her,
My transgender daughter?
yeah, her coming into her identity.
Yeah. So she's 19 now, but she came out to us when she was 12. I mean, at 12 years old, it's kind of strange. I'll be real honest and vulnerable here. Even I've been a part of the community my whole life,
Yeah.
and I've been advocating for our community literally since the 90s.
Mhm.
The majority of my people are in the community, and so you would think that I'd probably be the most equipped parent to accepting your kid when they come out as transgender. And I'll be honest, and I could tell you now that I made so many mistakes, and I did it so wrong on so many levels, and
Oh,
right
wow.
on so many levels. But so I don't necessarily fault parents who don't always affirm or get it
Mhm.
right, right out of the box,
Uh-huh.
because it's a lot to take on.
Mhm.
You really kind of mourn the loss of the child that you had, and then but then you get this really amazing child in exchange, right? And so my daughter came out at 12, and it was interesting. While I probably wasn't handling it the best, she already had it all laid out. Like, she had already
Mhm.
talked
Wow.
to counselors, teachers, principals. She knew where she could use
Your
the bathroom,
daughter
but-
did?
Yeah,
So
in middle
she
school.
already. Wow.
Yeah,
What
like
year was this? If you don't mind me asking? You
So
said
this
she's
7 years
19
ago?
now.
Yeah, 7 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was resources really around. It wasn't a hot
There
topic.
weren't. Yeah, especially for middle school. And actually, her school was really amazing, but they were real honest and said, we have a lot of things in place for our high school students,
Uh-huh.
but not at the middle school level.
Yeah, I wouldn't think
Wow.
so.
And so, they were really awesome, and we got to work with them on kind of creating
Mm-hmm.
accommodations and things, but and policies, but yeah. So she socially transitioned,
Mm-hmm.
probably for the first 5 years, as you do, as
Yeah.
because that's what's legal for minors, and I know people think that as soon as kids come out, we just start cutting off body parts and feeding them a bunch of hormones.
Uh-huh.
But believe it or not, that is not what happens.
Don't worry, you won't find any Matt Walsh fans around here.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
He's
That's the guy that made the movie.
Is that the What Is a Woman?
he was
Yeah.
he was so a couple months ago, Boston's Children's Hospital got bomb threats.
Wow.
It wasn't, and it happened shortly after, like literally the next day or so.
Because that's a
After
solution.
he started,
blow up the
after,
patients.
after he started like having rants about the
Wait,
Children's Hospital.
Did he put in the bomb threat, or are you saying
Nope.
just
It's that-
just the person who saw the movie?
No, it wasn't a movie. It was
Oh.
It was a show.
Oh, it's a show.
He has a.
I haven't seen it.
He
I
has a
don't know.
talk show.
Oh, he has a talk show.
And so he goes off making the claim that Boston's Children's Hospital is doing what she just described for us.
Oh.
And so, like 1, 2, maybe 3 days later, people are calling in bomb threats to the hospital.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
And that's what we call stochastic terrorism.
I was
Yes,
gonna
I
say
will
it.
call him a stochastic terrorist.
And,
That's
Sue
and
me.
that's the
I
the
think-
harmful rhetoric. That exactly it. Like, they think that's what that parents who affirm their children, or this affirming care.
Yeah.
That's what it is that we just start.
But the thing is, like, affirmative care is something as simple as going to see a counselor just to like sort it out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's your therapist. I mean, it's as simple as your pediatrician using your right pronouns.
Mhm.
Like making that little note in your chart and just at least affirming your identity your dentist, at affirmative care.
Now that we've brought this all back up, I already know what some of the, let's say, arguments are going to be, in that they say that someone actually called the hospital and whoever was on the line said they do the whole. So the thing is, the people who answer the phones and do all that are most likely not medical professionals whatsoever. They're just doing the best they can on long hours, low pay, and don't really know what they're talking about.
Something very similar actually just happened here at Dell Children's here in Austin this past week.
Same
thing. Someone saying that they do something that they don't do, and they fired the entire pediatric staff. And I can't even tell you how many parents we have reaching out to us right now who are saying, I have appointments for my kid, for their hormones or for their therapy or even just their nutrition appointments, and those doctors no longer exist.
Oh no, a lot of these laws that are coming out, like doctors, pediatricians, are just leaving entire states now because they don't want to risk getting arrested for doing their job.
I have two friends who are therapists who have left the state because they have to divulge, if a child comes out to them as transgender.
Really? So if a child comes out to their counselor or psychiatrist or whatever as transgender, the psychiatrist has to
report them to the state government.
Really?
Right. So that was the bill we were dealing with last year, around the same time, where
isn't that the one? Isn't that that's still going on? Isn't it that law?
It is currently being held up in court because they are being sued for that. But yes, that one was.
But why would the therapist have to send it to the government? I don't understand.
Because
government said so.
Yeah. If parents or anyone is affirming of
this
a
is the
child,
that was
exactly that was the CPS one. So if a parent is affirming, then they can essentially have their child.
Yeah. I don't pay attention to anything. So this is all new information for me. I'm not trying to be a bigot. I'm just trying I'm super Mike. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this.
Mike, we know you can focus. It's just how many grams you're grinding up at the moment.
1, 2, 3.
He's talking about weed, by the way. He's not talking about coke. Okay, I don't do coke. It's specifically weed.
I'm raising teenagers. I get it.
Yeah. So, but when your daughter came out as transgender and stuff like that, and she already had the psychiatry lined up and everything like that, and she went through a transition, I'm sure it was super hard for her throughout school and everything like that. And as a parent, I'm sure it's super hard for you to deal with all of this. You know what I mean? Especially having 2 other kids. Yeah. So how did you kind of try to maintain it all? How did you try to keep your sanity is basically what I'm saying.
It was interesting the way we navigated it.
Because if your kid's getting bullied, or I'm not saying she was, I don't want to assume that either, but if something like that happened, as if I if I was a parent, I'd go crazy.
Well, this mama bear started an organization.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
No, but initially, surprisingly, actually not surprising, but the kids are actually all right. The kids are fine. She didn't have any issues in school.
Really?
We only had issues with parents.
But to bring it up real quick, so the social studying that's been done on this, Gen Z.
Oh, they
actually, on average, a fifth. Is it a fifth that identifies as LGBTQIAP, whatever you want, however many letters are in there?
But yeah,
not even that much, or
no?
More
I think it's even more.
Yeah. But also, it's that. It's so many different ways to describe any one of those, and there are so many different versions. Now, intersex. What's the one that starts with an A? I'm thinking of asexual. It's just, and even queer is just. How old is that article you just pulled up?
It was from 2022.
Okay, so then I forget where I'm getting my.
Well, you were talking about a specific generation,
right?
That's everyone.
Yeah, that's everybody right now.
What would you say to the people? I'm not saying this. I'm just playing devil's advocate right now. What would you say to the people that says that this is kind of a trend? You know what I mean? Because clicks happen and stuff like that. So one girl's all or one dude is, or one person I should say is like, oh, I feel like I'm this way, and then all their other friends are kind of like, well, I mean, like, but then isn't that also part of an exploration of like when you're younger, right? Aren't we supposed to do that?
I think so, but
But anyways, what would you say to the people that are like, it's a trend kind of deal, and like you should maybe tone it down a little? I don't know how to word it, but like,
yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think it depends on what letter of the acronym we're talking about here, right? Like,
correct.
Because it is pretty broad.
Yes.
Part of it is talking about sexual orientation and your preference.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is talking about gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of depends on what we're talking about, but and I know it seems like as if there's more people being out with it, and you're right, they are. We Gen Z, Gen X, like they're not. Their standards are just different. It feels like they're not okay living in the closet or living in shame or carrying around trauma. Like
you want to be who
they
you
want
are.
to be authentic, and so I think there's just a lot more people being honest.
Mm-hmm. So
a
you
lot
think
more
it's
people feeling brave enough to explore. There's a lot more
So-
resources.
Mhm.
If you would just mind, I got Jake to pull up something that could help explain this.
Mhm.
It's the history of left-handedness
I
and
love this.
of Americans.
Oh,
who
I've seen this before.
it should be go down. We should see the years and decades at the bottom of the graph.
It's having some issues here.
Oh.
So this starts over, that first dotted line is the 1900s and then goes by 20-year increments. So that's from
Oh, so-
1880 to 2000.
Okay, I see.
About the time where it's going up is when
So it's
they
1920.
they decriminalize and illegalize being left-handed.
What?
So it used
Yeah, that's how
it used to be
bad it
against
was.
The law.
Oh, it was illegal to be left-handed. Oh, this is where the term like left-handed cigarettes comes from, and like, oh, I get it.
That's
They
now.
literally
insane.
they thought you were a witch.
What?
So
Okay,
This
I
was
get
in
it.
the
All right.
this was in the early 1900s too.
yeah, not
And
that long
Did you
ago.
see the plateau there? At the very top, how it plateaus.
Oh yeah. So okay, then it levels out.
That's
see
the
what you're saying.
actual percentage of people who identify as left-handed naturally.
Okay.
It wasn't just a trend that happened. People felt comfortable to
Mm.
finally admit to everybody.
Oh, I'm raising my kids left-handed, whether they like it or not.
Well, and I always love this fact, because that's 2% of the population is left-handed.
Yeah.
2% of the
Wait, it
population.
went up as high as 12% on there.
That's right. We're at
Oh, I
12% up here.
Oh.
Okay. Well, but you can take by redheads.
Among Americans.
Among Americans.
That was
but,
among-
but world population is
Oh,
2%.
world population.
Gotcha.
Yeah, global
She's
population
saying-
is 2%.
I
Right.
see.
Is it from similar biases, you think, as well? Or
Maybe.
There's still actually a lot of cultures out there where you don't want to identify as left-handed,
That
or
is-
at least be open about it.
Mhm.
That's new to me. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cool thing is there's equally almost the same amount of people who are born naturally redhead.
Oh.
So
okay.
they don't dye their hair, but they're born naturally redhead. It's about the
Okay.
same number. And I'm sure we've all met people who have naturally red hair
Yeah.
or are left-handed. There's also almost the same amount of people on the planet who are intersex.
Oh,
And
really?
You
That
brought
that
that
much?
up. You
huh?
mentioned that. So, this big
2%,
argument.
2%.
Almost 2%.
Oh,
1.7.
Okay, because
Mhm.
yeah, we gotta. So I think we're finally at the point where we just gotta push that 12% off to the side.
Yeah.
Oh, that was-
We're
yeah, that was-
talking global.
yeah, global,
Yeah,
globally.
yeah,
Okay.
globally. So, the big argument as the protesters that, had their big signs just yesterday at one of our events, there's only 2 genders.
Oh wait, y'all had an event yesterday?
We did have an event yesterday.
What'd y'all do?
I'll tell you about that here in a second. I'll just finish this thought though. But the argument is always that there's only 2 genders or 2 sexes, and in reality, 2% of the population actually is intersex, meaning they're a variation of that, right? So that already debunks that argument. Yet that's the biggest, rhetoric that's out there.
Yeah.
So yesterday we did have an event. So we have once a month we do a family night, like a family event where we create a safe space for families. Typically, it's LGBTQ families. That way, these kids can meet peers who are like them, and parents can meet other parents. Who might need some help or support, that sort of thing. And it's just a safe space for them to be able to hang out. And sometimes we'll show movies. We just do different things. Yesterday we had an art contest.
Oh, cool.
which was actually a project. We have work study students from Legacy High School, college in Taylor.
Isn't that like a charter school or something?
It is. It's a early high school prep.
Don't expect me to give any support to that.
Yeah, well, it's like they get dual credit is what it is, right? So we have 2 seniors that work with us every Friday, and they get a grade for that. And so their project was to put on an event, and so they hosted a talent and art contest yesterday, and they planned the whole thing. They did all the marketing, and it was really impressive. Families in there, at least half of those kids weren't even LGBTQ. They're just in there crafting and doing artwork, and having a good time. And we had a whole slew of protesters. I mean, we had to have Veterans for Equality there. We had to have Parasol Patrol. We had to have Taylor PD.
There were protesters against the kids?
Yeah, they protested.
The ones that said only 2 genders. Which, by the way, I had Jake pull up
That
another.
seems more traumatic for the children.
It is extremely, yeah, which is why we have organizations like Parasol Patrol.
That's weird.
Escort these kids to and from their vehicles.
One of the things that really helped with a lot of the trauma was just back in, 2013, when the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage. The suicide rate among LGBT teenagers actually just dropped after that because it gave them more validity to their identities. So protests like this can do a lot of damage. But since those protesters had up those only 2 gender signs, I asked Jake to pull up this one thing. It's about how a lot of indigenous communities actually recognized 4 or 5 genders.
Oh yeah, I've heard this before.
Literally since the dawn of man, right? Like,
and they're not the only ones. Like, I don't know. There are like so many others around the world, like up to the 3, up to 5 genders, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and I just want to be clear too that like gender means how someone identifies, right? And then their sex is something that's very different, right? And I think that part of the problem is that when they're, when they have this argument, they get those used interchangeably. They get them confused.
Wait, then how does orientation fit into that?
How you feel. So it's very personal, right? Like how you feel, how you identify. That's your gender identity. Your actual sex, right, there's a lot of things that go into play from body parts to hormones to your genealogy. There's a lot of things that go into it. Okay. And those are very different things.
Okay, so let's, I don't know how to put this. I don't want to sound mean, but let's say so this is where the I am a woman comes in, or is she a woman, or I don't know how.
Who's this? What's
talking about? The Matt Walsh guy?
What is a woman?
Talking about? Yeah, what is a woman?
Oh,
is that where
that thing? Is that where this falls into play? Movie.
Yeah,
Matt Walsh. Back to him. He had this little, what was it? A quote unquote documentary called "What Is a Woman." Just use your.
That's
okay.
If you just think about it, you feel like, oh, that kind of bullshit.
Well, just the fact that a man made a documentary.
Oh, there you go.
I am a woman.
That was a good point. I like that. Yeah, that's a good point. So I think
problematic.
Do you think it's because society is maybe kind of typically white male dominant and stuff like that of that nature? Do you think it's white men are deciding, or I don't want to say white men, but just maybe men in general are defining what a woman is, and maybe other people, the definition of woman needs to change, maybe? Or I actually don't even know what the definition of woman is, actually. So maybe let's look. Can we look it up? Maybe, I don't know.
Sure. So
I mean,
pull that up.
It is kind of like, if we're separating it from body parts, then isn't it really just like what you decide is for yourself, whether you are or not? Because for a lot of us, we didn't grow up with this kind of thought process on how to identify anything, so it's like
you just automatically did, right? You felt like a boy. Did you just?
I had sisters. There were times where I dress up like a girl now.
Oh, well,
does that make you feel like a girl, or does it just make you feel like you're wearing?
No, it's just his girlfriend likes it when he dresses up in her clothes.
I act girly all the time. I do feminine things. I pee sitting down. Why? It's more comfortable.
And first of all, that's actually way more clean to do.
I don't pee sitting down. I don't give a shit.
Now that Mike has brought that up, this is a thing my grandfather used to always tell us, because he had a bunch of siblings, but the closest ones to him were his sisters. and he had no choice. And they were older than him, so he had no choice but to play with them and the way they wanted to. So he was always being outvoted. He always had to play dress up and dolls.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his reasoning to think like maybe it's not a choice to be gay.
I remember I played.
Which, whenever he would bring that up, my grandmother would start yelling at him.
I played house as a kid one time, and I remember I was the mom.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I personally have a lot of masculine energy. I always played the dad. I loved
Reverse
He-Man.
roles. I like it.
loved playing He-Man.
Oh, I had a He-Man. I
hated
had the sword
Barbie.
and everything.
Yeah, I hated Barbie. So,
Mhm.
and look at us now.
I like Barbie.
Right.
I actually had a Ken doll.
Movie's out, right?
So-
Yeah, is it?
I'm
I
actually
think
looking
so.
forward to that. It looks
Is it
pretty
out?
good.
I want to watch it.
oh no.
So real quick, we're actually getting a lot done this episode, Jake. Turns out. So I had Jake look up another thing just so we can get some official definitions in
Yeah. So
of
this is
sex,
it's quite
gender,
wordy.
and orientation.
Thanks.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's a whole document.
Okay,
yeah,
we're
this
just
is
gonna
huge.
do the few. So just from there, it says we're just using definitions right now. Sex is the body parts. Let's go down to gender, Jake. Let's see. Gender identity is the term for how a person self-identifies in terms of being a boy or girl. All right, and let's go down to sexual orientation. And it describes it as it refers to a person's sexual or erotic feelings, so who they're attracted to. Okay.
And so everybody's arguments are conflating all three. Typically,
Absolutely.
like that the whole "what is a woman" thing. I saw clips from it. I thought it was funny, but it is playing that trick of arguing something that isn't what you're actually asking for. It's the gender versus sexual identity, or yeah.
Well, it's also, I feel like it's a loaded question. It's like I'm asking a question that I already know the answer to, or already want the answer to.
Well, and there's so many answers. Like
Yeah.
what it means to be a woman to me
Mm-hmm.
may not be the same to my mom
Exactly.
or to my best friend or to any other woman on this planet, right?
Mm-hmm. My dad always said you can cook a steak any way you want. My dad always said that. So I'm like, you can cook a steak however you can cook it in the toaster if you want. Don't give a shit. It's a steak.
But was he
As long as he
talking
doesn't
about
have to
this in
eat it, right?
particular, Mike?
It's just a metaphor. It's just like saying like you
You
do whatever you want.
Yeah, you do you.
You can do whatever you want. You just what I mean. That's who you are. So or that you have to deal with the consequences of how you cook your steak. That was more what he was saying to me. He's probably referring to the time I cooked the steak in the toaster.
He was trying to be relatable.
Yeah, but
I like it.
I like to use that in all throughout life.
Oh, that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Mic was turned off. Okay. So, you've talked about the have y'all gotten involved in parades and local? Essentially, are y'all providing it sounds like y'all are providing resources as well to youth?
Yeah. Well, and to everyone, not just youth. So our community in general. We have a youth group, a monthly youth group. We do the work study student program. We do a program called Duck Pantry, and that is where we provide individually wrapped healthy snacks for every student in the 3 elementary schools that are in Taylor all year long. So for those who don't know
that
much
sounds
about,
like y'all get a lot of love for that.
we do. Well, they love to hate us, but they also need us, right? So Taylor is predominantly the school is over 70% low income or reduced lunch, free lunch, that sort of thing, which means they provide breakfast and lunch. But for littles, I mean, they eat lunch pretty early in the day, right? And so throughout the afternoon, they have to bring a snack from home, and there's not a lot of them don't necessarily have food security at home. So that's how we came up with Duck Pantry. So every student, whether they need it or not, is provided a snack every single day for the entire year.
And just to be clear, for all the let's say commenters that might jump on this, you're not trying to encourage them to be one way or the other.
No, we don't even put any gay agenda in the snacks at all. Yeah. We just
Do
there's
y'all
no
even
hormones
identify
in
who the
snack.
snacks are from?
Yeah. No, so we get again those community partnerships. So we HEB, Walmart, places like that do some donating and
What more do you want to do? Like, do you have like a bigger vision? Do you picture it like expanding more?
So as you've heard, there is a lot of there's a lot of religious conservatives that live in the area.
Yeah.
And with that, there's been a lot of religious trauma. And so we are working with there is an affirming church in Taylor, and we are working with that pastor. And we're
what's the name of the church? I haven't
St.
heard.
James on Davis and 7th.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet
Yeah,
James.
yeah,
Nice.
Vicar
Saint
Perry Church.
Yeah, it's just right next to St. Paul's and the old
Saint-
Baptist Church.
and right across from the Old Taylor High. Yeah,
Oh, that's sweet.
yeah. So they're amazing. They keep a Taylor Pride sign out year round so that it's people understand that they're affirming and it's always an open space for everyone. And they're just so full of love. But we're working on a trauma healing through creativity program with them, and we do a parent support group that we are just starting up, and when we do training, we do a lot of online training, kind of like LGBTQ 101, and just we try to be a resource that doesn't exist, right? Like you have the P flags and the out youth and the HRCs and all those kind of things in Austin, but out in rural areas there just aren't any resources. And so we try to be either bring the resource or be the bridge to the resource in Austin or bigger cities. So
Yeah, because one thing I did notice, y'all actually have a partnership with Break the Silence.
we do.
I saw y'all's logo up there at their event back in April last
Yeah.
month.
Well, and I know Teresa. I mean, they're the experts. I don't have all the data, but
They're just the people you refer to.
we do, because sexual trauma is pretty prevalent in the LGBTQ community, and so they're actually more likely than heterosexual children to experience sexual trauma. So it makes sense, obviously, to partner with them and to just bring that resource to our community.
Is there a correlation between that,
I
or
don't know.
I mean, the human
I think-
psyche is an experience.
Exactly. I think everyone's experience is different.
They're
but
just dealing with what comes along to them.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And part of that has to do with the fact that LGBTQ youth experience homelessness at a much
Really?
higher rate. Quite often when they come out to their parents, they are no
Oh,
longer
they
accepted
get
in the
goodness.
family.
Uh-huh.
And so you can imagine being a child living on the streets, being homeless. You're obviously more susceptible, to violence, sexual trauma, that sort of thing. And then also, sometimes that's the best way to make a living when you are experiencing homelessness. And so, yeah, maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, we
lot.
slipped back into 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, I know.
No. What is the percentage of like LGBT, or I guess how many kids are homeless that are?
Just real quick, is it okay to say alphabet group, or is that like a little
It's
derogatory?
a little derogatory, but
Okay, we will not refer to it as alphabet.
Oh,
No.
the alphabet. I was like, what are you talking about?
But yeah, I mean, it is. I know it's a tongue twister to say the LGBTQIA plus. And it just keeps getting longer and longer. It seems like. But you can say the queer community. I mean, queer is an umbrella term.
But that's
if
the
that makes it
Q in
easier.
there.
Claire?
Queer.
Oh, queer.
Queer.
Okay.
But
But
that's,
even
that's
that,
the Q
some
in
people
there.
are okay. Queer used to be a derogatory term, so some people are okay with it, and some still are not. So it's ever changing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom doesn't know how to talk in Austin. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, so I want to go back to, I guess, being a parent and everything like that. Because you're like, oh, great. I love it.
No, you're right. We did get sidetracked.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So, like,
Mike wants to be prepared in case anything happens with his future stepdaughter.
no,
It's best to be prepared.
you gotta
Could be
say that,
stepson, man.
but- Anyways, so did your daughter take hormones, and did you go through hormone therapy? Is that what it's called and stuff like that?
Yeah.
or-
So, we did a social transition for about 5 years, which just really includes like using a chosen name and pronouns and presenting, the way that she wanted to. And then, when she was 17, almost 18, it was a decision that like her pediatrician and myself, and her
so
therapist and everyone, like, I mean, it's always a group decision. It's not something that you get
Do you still-
too easily.
I keep saying, do you still call her your daughter, even
Yeah,
though she
yeah, so-
transitioned, or?
Yeah, well, she transitioned to female. And
I see what
really
you're
and truly
saying.
non-binary. So she uses she they.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so,
So,
it's it's I will tell you it's interesting. Like we said earlier, kids tend to be much more receiving,
Mhm.
and but parents and adults not necessarily so much. And so the people we actually had the most problems with were our family or the people within our inner circle, people that were closest to us,
Yeah.
obviously that knew her from birth.
Mhm.
They probably struggled the most.
Mhm.
And then moving my family to a town like Taylor.
Oh, you're not from Taylor.
We're not from Taylor.
Oh, where are y'all from originally?
They were born in Houston, but they grew up
Okay.
in Maui. So not
Hawaii?
only were they mad at me for moving them back to Texas, but then
Yeah.
I moved them to
You
Taylor.
brought them to Texas from Hawaii?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, from Maui.
Even
That's
as a
crazy.
native Texan, I gotta say, what were you thinking? What, did you work for
insane.
Dell and they needed you here locally?
I know. Well, believe it or not, even paradise has its limits,
Yeah.
and 5 years,
My uncle
we were
lives
starting
there.
to cap out on some things that were
Mhm.
important to us, like education and
Okay.
some other
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
But then also too, we have family, and when you take your littles, halfway across the world, and
Mhm.
your parents are getting older, you gotta,
Mhm.
get them back here so they can visit and that sort of thing. So, yeah, we did. We moved to Austin, kind of sight unseen. Hadn't been here in about 20 something years, and then I got here and I was like, what the fuck happened to
It
Austin?
looks different,
Like,
huh?
what happened?
So, was that a fun conversation with your now daughter that you had to have with your parents or something? Like, how did that go?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I have 4 parents actually. My parents were remarried, so
Okay.
so it went a little bit different kind of with everybody.
Yeah.
And my stepfather had a very Catholic and small town upbringing and military and all those things. Where my other parts of my family were are a little bit more open-minded, and so those conversations all went a little bit different and reactions were all a little bit different, and I'll say this: everyone is on their own ally journey.
Sure.
Mhm. And in just different places along that journey, and for some it's a little bit easier to walk alongside even if they maybe don't necessarily understand, or and then for others you okay?
I'm sorry.
Are you dying?
He,
He tried so hard.
He's
you
on
got
fire.
to avoid the bong hits in the middle of the show. That's what you have gummies for. No, but I was wanting to say real quick, like your stepfather's background. That was actually the same background as the grandfather I told you about. Grew up Catholic in a very conservative area. In fact, his parents were so racist they probably wasn't allowed to marry anyone who wasn't Catholic or Czech. And he went into the military,
Wow.
served for a year in Korea.
Yeah, Czech and German. Yeah. And we experienced that. I remember my older sister having a boyfriend who, we'll just say, it was not white, and that being a real issue in our family for a while. And of course, again, people evolve and are on their own ally journey for different reasons. So those we've come a long way, but yeah, it was a slow journey for some.
Interesting thing, it involves my family. So, with my parents, I basically grew up, we started every morning at breakfast. 'Cause they also did their own, they had their own Bible study classes, and they would just bring like the week's classes, like the previous week's classes every morning before school for us. It was boring for me. We all had our own individual Bible.
Your grandpa was doing that?
No, my parents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they brought home their Bible study classes to us to do before school every day.
Did they do it with you? Or it was just like extra
they were the
schoolwork?
ones who told.
They
It was
were
like a whole
teachers?
family thing.
Uh-huh.
So they had all the paperwork for us all the questions for us to think over, talk about.
Yeah.
Only
Fun.
thing less boring than that was my English lit class that I slept through every day.
Oh, gosh.
So, but there were always whenever we come to the passages where in the Old Testament it talks about like the whole man shouldn't sleep with another man kind of deal. So that's the kind of background I grew up with. But then it was also interesting going about the time when I was in high school. when everyone accidentally found out about my cousin. It was a complete accident because my uncle and his son, well, there was only one DVD player in their house, and she was using it.
What?
Oh, yeah, so they go into her room. So they go into my cousin's room. They go into her room. They get the DVD player, pop it open. Copy of Girls Gone Wild in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I was
So
like,
that's
where
how-
are we going with this?
This
So
is a
that-
DVD, not
Christ.
VHS.
It was a DVD
Whoa.
back. So that's how everyone found out about her. And, everyone was actually pretty chill about it. I mean, the only...
Yeah, it's porn. I'm sure
well,
everyone
no,
was like,
no. You have not met some of the people in my family.
no.
No, the fact that what it was, not that it was porn. So that's how we all found out about her. But
Oh,
then
she
like,
was on it?
that she's bi.
That she was
Oh.
watching it. She was enjoying
See,
it.
I didn't even get that part.
Maybe you should cut back on the bong smoke.
No, it's
Are you a little foggy over there today, Mike?
No, I'm fine. Are you? You're the one stuttering throughout the story.
Just go back to the bathroom and choke on your smoke. Shut up.
Hold on, I'm trying.
All right,
I'm
You
trying
know-
to cue.
So let's hold on. We're getting so
sorry.
then there was
sorry.
that difference of like everyone like just being like okay with it. She's still part of the family. No one's like gonna kick her out of there. Where was I going with this again? There was a third part. I can't. Damn it, Mike! You got me confused.
So they were conservative.
Oh, now
But
I
then
remember.
also accepting.
Now I remember where I was going with this. So
Sorry.
it goes back to that whole.
I didn't catch that part.
It goes back to the whole idea. That whole idea of love the sinner, hate the sin, which I understand the arguments for people who say that like it's not really a thing, but they don't really understand like there is such a thing as toxic love. Like, yeah, you still love the person, but in a way that you want them to still be the way you want them to be.
Like you
Like,
resent them.
So I remember, I still had these views as well up until I went to a local community college where the psychology professor I had actually explained to us the brain chemicals on how it affects everything along those lines. But it took a week for that to stew in my brain for me to just like flip to like not care what anyone's orientation is. But for that week, I do remember, I was thinking like maybe there's a way to just give them the right meds and then they'll just all be straight. Like that was the kind of like what toxic love kind of thing was.
Oh, okay.
That tribal knowledge. That's the only
Trying to
it's the only
use
experience
trying
you
to
had.
use something to make someone what they're not, and you think it's for the better for them.
Oh.
So good
But
thing
you
that
asked-
good thing that professor like gave me the proper knowledge.
Oh, okay.
You got out, is what it sounds like. You
Well-
you got exposed to something other than just
Well-
the tribal teachings that you had.
I think it was a lot easier because there never was hate towards anyone in those groups. It was like I said, toxic love. It just like got put in a proper perspective.
Something that I see lately, as far as for hate, I know a lot of times the conservative groups are called out as the picketers and various things. I do see a lot of aggression towards those who probably need to have these discussions. Those religious folk or various groups, conservatives. So I feel a lot of bias on the other side of a fence versus like it's supposed to be this acceptance movement to have these discussions and learn more about each other. But unfortunately, I'm seeing just a lot of hate from people who feel differently versus trying to reach out and have these good talks. It's more like a activism us versus them thing.
Definitely.
So wait, if I hear you right, you're talking about a perception of the animosity from the other direction.
Right. As far as for hate, I'm feeling it a lot on both sides. It's becoming these polarized political issues that people are all headstrong, but their hearts.
Okay, I just
not
wanted
there.
to clarify that.
Right.
Yeah. I think in my personal experience, quite often the hate that we receive is hidden behind Christianity, or religion, and I know from my personal Christian teachings, as a younger person, none of what they do or what they say or the hate that they are, directing towards us, there's nothing Christian about that at all, right?
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
at all, and for me, that also it makes me question, like, well, if that really is Christianity, then do I identify that way anymore, right? Like, and so there's so many layers to that, because it forces you to really think about, is that really how I want to identify?
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, like, are they doing it wrong, right? Are they just doing it wrong? And that's where that religious trauma comes in, and that's why so many people in our community end up leaving the church, because that is what we're taught. They're like, well, these people are hating me, and they're saying it's in the name of God, right? Well, then God must hate me too, right? And that's not it at all. None of that hate is in any way what really any religion is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
or any faith system or belief system. And so, anyway,
Do you mind if I interject real quick?
sure.
A lot of the homophobic stuff in the, let's just say, modern Christian church only goes back to the Middle Ages. Like the Catholic Church before that didn't have any of it. It was just essentially they jumped on a trend that was happening at the time.
Well, what about old school Jewish beliefs and traditions? Because that basically is the first half of the book.
Well, actually, there's only like 6 verses in the entire Bible that are attributed to all that. A lot of the arguments, when you look at it a different way, it's not about the relationship. They're about it's more about lust rather than homophobic. And the whole thing about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they were gay. It was just that they were gang raping everybody that came in through town.
That was also part of the story, right? Let us see your angels so we can have sex with them. Yeah, good points.
But isn't all that a part of like a different, like, isn't that the St. James Bible or whatever it's called?
That's
Or the
Leviticus.
King James Bible.
Leviticus,
yeah, it's
I
all
think.
the King James Bible. Isn't there older Bibles than that?
Well, yeah, there's
We're getting off track.
Greek and
Well, this is-
Hebrew.
this is all kind of relevant because the Old Testament does go back. I think the oldest copy is about a few thousand years old.
Whatever the Dead Sea Scrolls found, I think.
I think there are older copies than that. Older, because there was some stuff before those were discovered back in like the early 1900s, late 1800s.
Okay.
So yeah, but you are right. We kind of did get a little off topic. So
We're getting super off.
I interjected on what Denise was saying.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this: it doesn't really matter what the words or what the reason they're using. It's really the intent that's behind it.
Yeah.
And if you ever come to any of our events and you see the group of protesters that we have, there is so much hate and anger
Mhm.
that is behind the words that they're using
Oh,
and
right.
their body language. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes us feel like we are really in danger, whether they're doing it out of love per
You
se
know
or
it.
Yeah.
not, right?
Did
Like,
Did
it
you
doesn't
ever talk
matter.
to him?
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
in the
yeah.
beginning we did.
Yeah.
I will say, there is there is one sort of main leader of this group.
Oh, yeah?
And he's pastor of this church and school and all the things. And, and I tried at a time to, invite him to coffee. Let's have conversation. Let's create a bridge,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Nice.
And that was not received. We even invited them to have a booth at our festival. Because
Huh.
the first year they were such they were protesting, and again they were scaring people.
Yeah.
And so the second year, we thought, we'll let you have a booth because by law they're allowed to be there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so because it's on a public street, and so they're allowed to be there. And we want to keep it free for our community, so we don't make it a private
Mhm.
event. We don't fence it off and charge tickets. So because we keep it open in public, they're allowed to be there by law. And so we thought, you know what, they have just as much right to tell their story and evangelical, whatever
Sure.
they
Yeah.
do. And this way they can also be a little bit corralled. Like if people really want to hear the story, they'll come to them,
Mhm.
right? But just
Yeah.
stand there and stand in your tent, and if people want
Yeah.
to hear the your truth, they'll come to you. And they denied it. They declined it. They said they didn't want it. And then, then the application deadline came, and plus we filled up on vendors. We just had no more footprint for anyone else. Then they came back and said, we would like to have a booth. We'd like to continue on it. And we had to deny him at that point.
Okay.
We just couldn't,
Yeah.
Sorry, friend. And then
Snooze, you lose, bud.
And then they showed up anyway.
There's a couple back alleys you could have put them in just for a little extra space.
Well, they also said some really not nice things online right before that. Some really harmful, really mean things about our community and about our organization. And at that point, it didn't feel safe. Right, we have to also think about the greater good of our community, their psychological safety, and at that point, we just didn't feel like it was
creating a safe space.
Absolutely, that's what we're about. So,
but why are they so upset with you? I don't understand.
Did you not pay attention to the stuff
I know.
Just
it just doesn't make sense in my
that,
brain. It just doesn't make sense in my brain.
You just didn't grow up with any of that.
Because they wore it better.
There's dynamics happening in Taylor too. I mean, this organization, first of all, you have to understand there's a lot of churches in Taylor, and this was an alliance of all the male, not female, because we have some churches that are female led, but all of the male church leaders form this organization, right? So this was kind of like this governing power, and believe it or not, they have a lot of influence in town. They also volunteer. They're the volunteer chapels at our police department, and and they do a lot of good around the city. We'll say. And so
might explain why that a female assistant pastor at St. Paul's when I was in high school wasn't promoted to pastor, or along those lines.
Yeah. So having a woman come in who was also queer, who was also and able to influence a group of people to unite and be our authentic selves, which is everything that they're not, right? Like they I mean we butt heads, we have differing ideals, and we're just not okay with them having power over me. Like they've had power over a lot of people in that town for a very long time, and I'm just not going to let them have power over me. And
I see. It's
a
power
thing. That doesn't sit well with them.
Yeah. I see. I understand.
Well, according to what you said, 2/3 of the community they don't have any power over anymore.
Exactly, and fear of losing power is a real thing, right? Like it's and you'll do anything to keep it, as we see happening all around us
everywhere.
Right now, right? So
that's the game.
That is the game.
Yeah,
power is slipping away.
Taking me into the conspiracy
talks. All right.
I had to hold myself.
That's my stuff.
All right. So let's go into what y'all have planned going forward now. So let's start with just community, local stuff y'all got planned going on.
So lots of really good things. So in Taylor, and let's say June 3rd, which is like right around the corner.
Oh yeah, we're almost there.
It's like 2 weeks.
We'll have carpets upstairs.
Oh, I'm so busy. Awesome. Okay.
Getting carpets done.
June 3rd, we do a Pride kickoff event. We always kick off the months because our Pride Festival is always the last Saturday, and so we don't want people to kind of feel like we've forgotten the month, right? So, we're doing. I told y'all that we started a parent support group. I don't know if y'all have heard of the documentary short film called The Dads. It actually just debuted at South by Southwest.
Nice.
And it's like a 11-minute film. The father of Matthew Shepard, y'all know who Matthew Shepard is? He was the young gay gentleman who was drugged kind of to the middle of nowhere and hung on a fence and beaten and died, and that's why we actually have laws against hate crimes now. This was in the 80s.
Just to be clear, when did that happen?
We have the Matthew Shepard law, which is I want to believe maybe 89.
Is that him?
You look that up?
89.
There we go, Matthew Shepard. So his father, Dennis Shepard, takes 5 fathers who are incredibly diverse, like different ethnicities, different walks of life, military, conservative, all the things you can think of. They couldn't be any more different. And it takes them all out on a fishing trip. And the one thing that they all have in common is that they are all parents of transgender children. And the film really talks about like how, there's a lot of mama bears out there, but it's not very often that dads are a part of the fight or that dads are affirming or that, part of the conversation in general. And so, we have exclusive rights to this film. We get to show. We're going to be showing this
Cool.
film, and we have some of the dads from the documentary.
Wait! You got exclusive rights to it.
Well, it's not out, so
this is more like an early screening.
yes,
Okay.
yes, we
Nice.
paid for, and so we and some of the dads are going to be there doing a talk back and discussion panel that are actually part of the film. So that'll be June 3rd from 6 to 7 at the Taylor Public Library. And then we're going to walk right over to Old Taylor High, and we are hosting like a big DJ dance party, kind of pride kickoff. So that'll be going till 10 o'clock at the Loose Screw.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to get in for this conversation is kind of like one aspect to all this and all this crazy mix up back and forth that doesn't really seem to get talked a lot about is a lot of the transphobic violence stems from a lot of men who at first they see what looks like a woman to them, but then they just get like essentially they're like still kind of in the closet themselves about what they're attracted to, but they have that mentality that they were raised with to not be gay.
Right.
So, and essentially, like, yeah, they could still call it, like, has anyone heard of Jim Norton, the comedian?
Yeah.
So you know that he'll just say on stage out of nowhere that he has no problem. He's attracted to trans women.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
And
him.
so like there's still this idea that one could be a straight man, cis man, and just be attracted to what looks like a woman. Now, is there anything that y'all have y'all ever considered addressing that issue? Because a lot of those guys in their own way actually are in the closets as well. So is that another aspect y'all have ever thought about?
Well, I mean, we're not therapists, and that sounds like someone really needs to unpack some real personal,
right.
Things. We have held mental health discussion panels, both live and virtually. Actually, every festival we try to have at least one discussion panel. But yeah, so that's one of those things where someone has to learn to accept themselves and then deal with whatever lies they've been told and unraveling all of that, right? And so that's a lot of work. But we provide information for resources like that, right? Like we have some therapists that we partner with, that we promote. And so do we do it on a one-on-one basis? No, we don't address it that way. But certainly it's we have some resources available for it.
Nice.
Yeah, but I would agree with you. I definitely think it's harder for men to accept their sexual orientation than it is for women.
Do you think it's just because we're told to suck it up, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and trying to
tough it out,
to
man,
work?
tough it out.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of the same reason why my younger brother, even though he can fake cry real tears, he never considered acting as a profession. He is good, but because of that same culture and mentality, he's like not going to do that at all, just because of the way we were raised.
Oh, well,
yeah, which is unfortunate. It's so sad. Excuse me. I was actually just having the conversation this morning with my boyfriend who, like, I'm a person who I have a lot of masculine energy, and that's been an issue in a lot of my relationships. Like, I'm very independent, and I mean, there's a reason I'm 45 and never married, right? Like, it's by design. It's so. On the flip side, my boyfriend tends to have, like, he is really comfortable in his femininity, right? Like, he'll sit with his legs crossed, or like you said, maybe sit to pee. You know what I mean? Like, for a lot of men, like, they're just not comfortable with that. And neither are women, right? Like, that's what started the conversation. I'm like, I'm curious how many women you've dated where it's been a problem for you to, like, sit like that or to be, okay in your femininity. And he was like, most of them, almost all of them, right? Like, quite a few of them, because they're kind of taught the same thing. Like, men should be men, and their dads were manly, and their dad would never sit with his legs crossed, kind of thing, right? And they're, so again, maybe some more things people need to unpack. But
I cross my legs all the time.
Rolls are hard, man.
It's so hard.
Mike, quit jacking with the table.
I'm comfortable, dude. Don't mess with my comfortability.
Well, you were messing with the cameras.
I really need to get us some fighting music for whenever you guys start going off. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the copyright. John Cena.
Right.
We'd have to pay for that one, you know.
Oh,
that.
I know, but that one's perfect. That's what you guys
Just
are.
put on like Nintendo music.
Oh, then we'll
Like the
definitely get sued.
Bowser stuff.
Oh, great. Oh, that just means more attention for us if we get sued.
All right. So let's see. We started about 10 minutes late, so we can push that a little bit. All right. So what's going forward in terms of what the state legislature is trying to do that y'all are taking a look at?
Okay. Well, that's a heavy one. And actually, I'm going to go back real quick because I didn't even tell you about our big event. Obviously, we have the festival, right? Like the festival that kind of started it all in Williamson
What's the name
County.
of that festival?
It is the Taylor Pride Music and Arts
Cool.
Festival.
Music
so
and arts.
it is music and art. So Taylor's kind of
Do you have
getting a
bands?
reputation.
You
We
said you had
do.
band bands
So we had to
I'd
scale
say
it
it's
down
the
a
area
little
where
bit.
all the Austin artists that got drove out of Austin go to.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's us.
There's
that's
the
our
ducks.
website.
I love this. I want one of these shirts. I
So
like
this
that.
we are scaling down just a little bit this year because we had to. There's a lot of construction and things, a lot of change happening downtown. So we had to move to the park. But last year, we had like 16 bands, 3 venues. We had a dozen drag queen performers and other
Right.
types of performers. We had a comedy show. I mean, it really is. We had an
Nice
art
comedy
show.
too.
So it's music and art.
That's
So it's
cool.
not just a pride festival or a parade,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of everything. So this year we only have one stage. So we're only going to have 7 bands, but there's 7 really amazing
Wow.
bands.
That's cool.
Yeah. And, to
Can we get
then to go into legislation. So
All right,
you know
here we
what
go.
happens
Hold on,
with
before we-
legislation.
before
We
we
might
get-
have 10 drag queens.
Uh-huh.
They are booked.
Wait.
They are booked.
Oh, they got one. Of course, they got one of those bills coming in.
Yeah,
The-
of course they do.
One of those drag show bills where they try and ban it at all from happening.
Well, and because again, we're a public event, right? And we try to keep it free and open to the public and family friendly. The bill would not allow for you to do drag in front of minors, right? So because there'll be children in the park.
When is that bill expected to pass through?
Well, there are 8 days left in the legislative season. It ends on
So
March
it definitely
20
could
May
definitely happen
29th.
before y'all's big events.
They can.
Wow.
They can. So everyone is booked.
Won't
But it
that
is
also
tentative.
wouldn't that also just straight up ban them from essentially being at public events, like just being in front of kids at all?
Right. They would have to perform.
No, I mean
Uh,
like if they're just in public, wouldn't that?
Yes. Well, that's the problem with the bill. So they actually took out the word drag. So it's been a little bit kind of watered down. It's a little bit.
Do they make
not
it
a little
more
bit,
vague?
It's a lot more vague. Yeah, it's a lot more vague. So yeah. So essentially, just theater arts, performing arts in general are going to be affected in every way you could ever possibly imagine.
Mhm.
And yeah, whether it's a drag queen or a transgender person or someone who's a man in a dress, even though he's straight, doesn't
That's
matter,
right.
right?
I'd go on
You could be
RuPaul.
harassed and arrested, and against you could be,
I'm gonna be arrested for wearing
Breaking
a
the law.
dress. I'm gonna wear a
Breaking
dress.
the law.
I'm
That's
wear
gonna
a
be
dress
fun detainment.
all the time. I love.
That's
Yeah.
how
I'll do
vague
it.
a lot of those bills are getting.
That's
It's
how
just-
silly they are.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it. Then.
Wow.
I'm gonna wear a
That's
dress
how
just
silly
for
they
shits
I mean,
and
it's
gigs.
like the "Don't Say Gay" bill down in Florida, where it just started. It was so vague.
say-
Teachers just threw out books that had gay authors.
Mhm.
Like there's this one. He's a famous baseball player down in Florida. I forget his name. Like he was a Puerto Rican player. He's from the Puerto Rican community and like big in that community. One school just tossed his book, and so the teachers were just scared. Like, gay author. Let's just be careful, not get sued.
Right.
And then the whole community said like, no, we love him. We don't care about that. He's a great member of our community. Put that book back in. And so it was like just the outrage from the community said like, no, we're not going to sue the school for having this book.
Not this one, huh? And that's the thing. There's just so much gray and so much absurdity to it, and I mean, it's just bullying. It's all it really is. Essentially, it doesn't even. They don't even realize who all it's going to hurt or who all it's going to affect because they're just trying to bully one particular community
Mhm.
or a group of people, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's the absurdity of it. It's happening right now as we speak.
Have there been any of the, let's say the crazy parents going to the school board meetings over all this?
My children don't go to school in Taylor ISD. for a good,
For a good reason.
for a good reason. I mean, like I said, for 7
Really?
years now, we've been a part of the.
What's the other option for them?
Well, their father lives in Pflugerville, so they went to school in Pflugerville. I will
Okay.
tell you, my older two are out of school now. My youngest actually goes to UT High School online because, just Texas schools in general have been real
Okay, because all I
on a
care
real
about
downward
is they go to.
spiral.
All I care about is that kids go to public school.
Yeah. So he does. It is. UT offers a free public high school online,
No. Online
Yeah.
high school?
and it's
I didn't even know that's a
self-paced,
thing.
which is really cool. Yeah.
I would never do that.
You mean because you wouldn't
No,
do the classes?
I wouldn't do the classes. I'd just be like,
Self-paced.
Yeah, you
Insane.
didn't bother going to.
I didn't go to regular school. Yeah, I didn't.
Well,
like-
neither was he, so that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, like I just didn't go to regular school. I was like, I have better things to do.
So, but getting back to it, but clearly there are other people. They probably do have their kids in the Taylor public. So, has there been anything y'all have heard about of those like really hardcore parents that have been showing up with all the conspiracy theories?
Yeah, I will say this: Taylor ISD does have a really fantastic superintendent, and he came from the Pflugerville area, and he is diverse and progressive, and it's actually a really big supporter of our
You can say
organization.
he cares.
He cares. He's awesome, and Taylor's really lucky to have him. Well, shout out to Dr. Potterville. But he's shown up to our organization. Like we host an event right before school starts, a little mixer for kids to be able to come in and meet each other before, especially like freshmen, right? And
Oh, yeah.
it's one thing to enter a school
I remember that
anyway as a
feeling.
freshman, but then to do it as someone who's queer, or like maybe last year you left as one person and you came back this year and now you're a different gender and different name, right? Like, so we host this mixer, and anyway, yeah. So he comes to that. He volunteers at our festival. I mean, he's involved, and we've definitely connected on things.
So now I'm curious
But
about.
my kids don't go to school there, so I cannot speak a lot on.
Well,
school board
so
meeting.
now I'm a little curious about him in particular. Is like, would he, if any of those people did show up to give their rants, I'm wondering, would he be the kind to go like, okay, thank you for your time, next person, or is he the more like no nonsense, like shut the hell up, you're done kind of person?
That I don't know. I will tell you, I've had parents reach out and say, you know what, he's keeping a real close eye on our children who are transgender. And as soon as he saw them alone, or he saw them setting, maybe someone, kind of, they could tell maybe they're being picked on, or maybe they're not comfortable, he immediately went and sat with them at lunch, or got in between them and walked with them. And I mean, he's just
Wait,
been
the
really,
superintendent goes to the schools?
Yeah.
at least in the beginning. I mean, that's beginning of the school year, and so some parents were really grateful for that. It's really cool for these kids to see him at the festival too. When most of their teachers maybe aren't as nice, or,
Right.
Yeah.
they're having some issues.
I also wanted to say for these here, that kind of also ties back into what I brought up earlier about the Supreme Court, is like having an authority figure give you validation does a lot to help with the way you feel about yourself.
Yeah, so you can imagine how these kids feel hearing quite the opposite of that, when they feel like their state leadership actually doesn't want them here, right? Doesn't want them to be themselves, and is trying to.
Do you feel like there's a difference of opinion on the whole conservative line versus non-conservative when it comes just to bathrooms? Is there any?
You know what? I just want to
What's up?
just say real quick. I don't even think we should call those people conservative anymore.
do you call
Let's
it?
just call them crazy conspiracy theorists, because they think
Don't
there's
give
a
crazy
gay,
conspiracy theorists a
they
bad
think
name.
there's a gay agenda to chop dicks off.
That does sound pretty rough. But as
Or-
far as for
or
like,
men to wear dresses and stuck
Oh.
children in the bathroom.
Wait until they find out there are cultures where it's the women in charge.
I mean, I prefer a stall anyways over a urinal. So just let's just make that a thing. So I don't have to.
Okay, you're
Can
saying
we
Stand
have all
next to
stalls?
people.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just change it all to stalls.
I'm cool with that.
oh, like
The
The
yeah,
Alamo here does
yeah,
that.
that's what I was saying.
Everything-
Alamo. Everything is just like a straight floor to
Right.
ceiling,
Yeah.
wall, and door.
Let's
And
not-
you
And-
wash hands together after
would
that.
prefer
we
that.
all wash hands together in
Yeah,
the trough,
it's
right?
so
Like a
weird.
little corral. It's interesting.
It's kinda cool. I liked it. It's
And
weird,
then
though.
they can actually focus on cleaning the bathroom altogether, not just like skip out on the boys' room.
Yes, right, exactly.
I want clean bathrooms in my restroom too.
Right, me too.
It's been really interesting. So I also work. This is just what I call my gay job. My day job is I actually work in diversity and inclusion, and anyway, and so I feel like I'm always kind of at a conference or a workshop or something of that nature.
Wait, you said diversity inclusion. Who do you work for when you do that?
I work for. I don't know if I can. Can I say those? I don't know if I can say.
Is
those.
it private?
I work for
you don't have to
I work
say
for
it.
a global manufacturing company.
Okay, because my sister is part of a similar department at UT, so I was just curious if y'all work together, but no, I guess not.
But yeah, so I find myself at these, different events quite often, and almost every time they actually put up signs on the bathroom. They change the gender specific bathrooms to all gender bathrooms, and it's wild. You just have everyone in the bathroom. Usually these are fancier events, so we're dressed nice or whatever, and we're doing our thing.
Yeah.
It's just so. It's not a problem. It's not the problem that people think that it is, right? It's totally normal. We're all just in there going to the bathroom, and if anything, complimenting each other on your outfit or whatever.
Right.
And I thought it was gonna be really weird, and I think I just naturally always kind of gravitate to the right, because that tends to be like where the women's restroom is. And I did that at the last event, and turns out it was the other way around. That was what was
Did you get a little
the
shocked?
men's, but
for a
it said
second?
all gender. And
Yeah.
there were men at urinals.
Oh, sorry.
And
Got it.
exactly, and I could tell they were uncomfortable. I wasn't uncomfortable, but it definitely was weird for them to have a woman walking in and going into a stall.
is
So
I would never care.
I don't,
I don't think I would care.
I mean, I'm a little.
You take every opportunity you can to show off, don't you?
I'm not. I'm pissing.
I mean,
pissing. I'm not showing. I'm taking a piss.
I'm attracted to women, so if they see me, at that not very flattering pose, so
but it's definitely you can eliminate a lot of that with having stalls for
Yeah,
sure.
let's just do that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we all choose
All
the
right.
stalls anyway.
I will say this though.
We
you
saw
know,
Ironically, the trough where we wash our hands now is where we used to pee.
oh, I hated those troughs. Troughs are the worst.
the interesting thing is though, men have a lot less stage fright than women. In
I
bathrooms.
disagree.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
I hate
No,
it.
yeah.
And it's noisy in there. There's a lot happening in there.
I get
right?
in my head, and that guy's waiting for you to wrap
there's
it
a lot
up.
of pressure.
Come on,
There's a lot of
What's wrong?
pressure, and then you get you get shy, and then
It's all the
sometimes
country guys. They could just pee in
That-
on
that's-
anything.
that's the-
anywhere.
Anywhere.
That's
Anywhere.
the second reason why I use the stalls. And then, either
It's
it has to be
terrifying.
completely silent or so noisy, I know no one's going to hear
yeah.
me.
That you want to know why it's so noisy in there? That's why it's so noisy. So everyone can just be like, okay, it's fucking.
Can we get some elevator music
Look
at least
the wall.
in there? Gosh.
You know what I mean?
Everybody's waiting for
takes
the
the
other one to
pressure
start.
off.
There is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Like porn stars have pressure. Have you ever peed? Have you ever peed during a baseball game? It's fucking traumatic.
Everybody's got to go.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. You're standing next to a guy who's somehow 8 foot tall. And it's just, you're like, I don't.
You
No,
run into one
I
of the
am curious,
players?
though, are there rules like can you not look? Are you supposed to look?
You're
not
if
supposed
you
to
do
look.
look, is there a time
Face
limit?
forward.
Face
You're just-
forward.
yeah, you're just-
Military.
No talking.
In fact, if you have hair, let it hang over your face.
However, when I used to look over when I was younger and I go, nice cock.
Nice, dude. Nice. Nice. We're going to be friends.
And what
So
were the
what, you
reactions?
did that a couple years ago?
And then no one
That
liked
was last
it.
night,
Everyone
man.
was all like, what the fuck? This one dude, I ran into him years later, and he said, you actually gave me a lot of problems. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, I can't pee in public now. He's like,
Hold on, that's a joke from Shenanigans.
Yeah, I know it is.
Oh, I
Did
was
you just
like,
steal that?
what?
No, it's a story that happened
That's
to
good.
me.
You stole that from Shenanigans.
It's
Is that
not
a
from
movie?
Shenanigans. It's from Waiting.
Waiting. Okay, yeah.
It's from Waiting. But I it's still funny, though.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Oh, he did have the shy PB. Okay.
Yeah, the
All right,
shy
I'll wrap
PB.
it up. That's my last comment.
But I know I have done that to someone before where I looked over and said, nice cock. They didn't like that, though. They didn't like that. It was very awkward afterwards because I was still peeing. But I was like, we're not going to fight in the bathroom. That's weird.
Yeah.
To fight around and, say we get in the ground.
Yeah,
Like,
don't be weird, guy.
Yeah, because you don't want to get in a fight when a guy's still hanging out of his pants.
No.
Definitely not. Or still peeing.
no,
Yeah.
definitely. He'll get peed on you.
The men's restroom is much, much less sanitary.
That's
than the
right. I feel like the
Yep.
women's
Mhm.
bathroom has a couch
Yep.
and has
I've-
flowers.
Oprah's there to
Sometimes.
welcome you.
Yes.
Sometimes.
It's just like a whole before area. I've seen you go to a mall somewhere, they have a before area, a sitting area before going to the women's restroom. restroom while you're on your way to the men's room, and it's literally a dump in there.
Yeah.
There's crap everywhere but in the toilet.
I love bathroom talk. It's amazing.
Well, it goes to show like how ridiculous all the bathroom bills are.
Exactly. You're right.
Oh, that was heated. I liked that. I needed to figure that one out.
Okay.
All right, Jake, how are we doing on time? It looks like we're coming up to our last half hour.
Oh, it's the best
It's
segment
the Elon
of the
Musk
day.
hour.
So,
all right.
I hate this part. How do you feel about AI? Do you like AI?
Yeah, so let her know.
Does that fall into the LGBT AI thing?
I don't think it has any. They both are letters.
That was a good joke.
Right.
That was a good joke.
They are both acronyms. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think I know enough about it. I think it still scares me because I don't know enough about it.
That's terrible.
Well,
And
this
the
is
few
a
movies you've seen about it are like,
well,
they're
this is
gonna
a segment.
murder us, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, thank you. I've seen Terminator. I know how this movie ends. We don't need to have Skynet. We don't need that stuff.
All right, so this is our last half hour segment we just do to fill time.
It's the gimmick.
It's also so they
We
can
do a
gather information on me and then use it on me later. I hate this.
this is the setup.
I also did earlier. I did ask ChatGPT where the top, things the LGBTQ community is facing, discrimination against it. They did bring up homelessness. I was surprised they did about that.
No, yeah, in the short amount of time it's been out, it's like gotten very. There's number 7. I forgot all about conversion therapy.
We talked about it a little bit, I thought.
No, not conversion therapy.
Oh, I thought you mentioned it. You were talking about maybe giving some.
No, I was talking.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were talking about. Is that you believed?
No, that was first of all that was back when I was 19. Okay, that was like almost 13 years ago.
Okay.
So conversion therapy is like where they do the electroshock stuff.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
That's terrible.
Condition.
Yeah.
I saw, what was that, Beverly Hillbillies when they shocked Grandma? I don't know if you guys saw that one.
All right, so now let's get into our AI segment here. Now that we're gonna, as we get into this with absolutely no segue whatsoever.
Copyright free music too. Let's get a little background music for this AI stuff.
What kind of music do
Okay,
you
tell
like?
me what.
Yeah, what's the type of music?
I listen to everything.
Like a genre.
You like death metal?
I do. I like everything. I
Right on
really
this-
do. I shouldn't say everything. Country after 1990, garbage.
There you go.
I really do listen to everything. I'm like from Janis Joplin to like Doja Cat.
Oh
Can
no.
I admit that?
I
Can
like
I
some
admit that?
Doja.
But
Look, you should hear the stuff these two create. It's terrible.
It's called
It's
noise,
amazing.
man.
Yeah.
I'm really into the guy that does the death metal about his cat. Do you watch?
I
that?
am that
I just
guy.
saw
Love
that.
that guy.
I just saw that.
Love that guy.
All right, so while Jake's looking up the free music we can use, you want to put up Inspirobot for
That's
us?
it. Earlier, you guys were talking about minors and what's the law's going with it. So I figured these guys are going to miss out at some good
That's pretty good.
good events.
I hate your humor so much.
That's good.
All right, Connor, take it away. Here we go.
All right, this is where we get our inspirational posters from now. And as each one comes up, we'll vote on whether or not to keep it.
Okay.
Now, AI gives you some really hit and miss.
Inspirobot generating picture. Here we go. Okay, what do we think?
Make life.
Wow.
Let us make
Very
life on
inspirational.
Earth collapse under its own weight. I think
Yes.
America's got that down.
I think
We're on
that's
the
what's
right track
happening,
with
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just like telling us what it's doing.
With the nice
It's just a-
traditional
little-
family.
It sounds
Value
very
there.
romantic.
There you go.
It sounds very romantic.
I mean, I like it. I like the wordsmith. It made me chuckle.
Just because we're all getting obese and fat in this country, I say yes.
Oh my gosh.
I probably used a different font though.
What is that font? It's that
I
sans
don't know.
serif.
What do you say, Mike? Do you like it? Do you want
I
to
mean,
keep it?
I think it's an accurate description of what's happening in the world.
Question is, do you want to keep it?
We might make these into shirts or
I like
like
it.
posters that we give away.
I think
for
they should
things
be
over time.
inspirational posters.
I like it.
Okay, we're not getting an answer.
They could
out of
be
him,
all over
so-
this wall.
I like it.
So since we got you here,
I'm not
you get
giving
to
you
vote
an
on
answer
this.
because it's going to take my answer and then it's going to make more things like this, and then it's just manipulating things. I don't like it.
It watches the show.
You've seen so much of the complete crap we reject on this thing.
I know it's both, and it picks it up and it's making it better, so we like it. It's learning.
So,
it's
Denise-
learning.
Do you like it or do you not?
I like it. It's pretty accurate. I think that's actually what's happening. That there are people living in complete ignorant bliss while the world is collapsing under its own weight.
Beautifully said. I like that. All right,
so
we
it seems like
it's
we're
a
keeping
win.
it.
That's a win.
Let's pull up the next one. InspiroBot, what do you got for us?
Beep bop beep bop boop bop bop.
Only when you learn to understand how other people see.
Gosh,
What's that? See death.
death you will meet courage.
Will you meet
And they got
well,
Bitcoin.
hold on.
That sounds like a quote before like a villain kills you, like in a movie.
I mean, your
Only
outlook.
when you learn to understand how other people view death, then you will see courage.
Do you fear death?
Pow!
Was that your Palpatine right there?
Do
Sure. Yeah, let's go over that.
Do it.
I mean,
Do it.
Zap, you're dead.
it's not funny, but it is kind of a thinker.
It's like intriguing.
But I don't understand the Bitcoin.
Is it, I guess,
Well-
like all in? Like, don't fear. I don't know,
Yeah,
losing.
Did you not see
Those
how
people
big?
had no fear.
And
We're
then,
all-
I've
it,
seen it.
and then
I've
it was
been playing,
nothing
so.
but complete failure last year.
Yeah, but it's coming back. It's about
No.
2/3 or so where it was. Anyways, I'm not inspired by it.
No.
I didn't laugh. It just scares me a little bit for some reason.
Well, it doesn't roll off the tongue easily.
And what
You
is
know?
this font as well?
Exactly. And there's like right on top of all of the image. It's hard. It's just hard to read.
Yeah.
Is that a D or a
Get an
B?
outline
I'm
on that
45.
font.
I feel like it's like an eye test. Like,
Yeah,
I almost
feel
read Beth too. It's like, yeah.
it. It does look like. What is that for a D?
Beth.
I'm not sure.
Ridiculous. I'm thumbs down.
I
on
don't
this
believe
one.
you're 45.
All right, it sounds like we're not
How
going to
does she
keep it.
stay so young?
All right.
It's very
The oil
easy.
olé. No.
Newer generations don't smoke and drink as much.
They don't.
No, not like half the country back in the 50s used to smoke. Now it's like less than a fifth.
What about the vapes?
That's a new thing.
It's because
That's
they never
crazy.
got married.
Oh, is that
No. Just
I like
you
that.
keep the youth.
I like that.
It's
No,
that
it's 'cause I'm
joy.
raising teenagers. They keep me young.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
they
go.
Keep me young.
All right, let's get one last inspirational poster.
All right,
and see what we can get.
InspiroBot, what do you have for us? That's an easy one. I mean, like,
That actually is an inspirational poster right there. I don't
pretty
think we've
sure.
ever had one that's on the money.
not just like dark in some way.
Yeah. It's not telling us to sacrifice gerbils.
That one was fun.
Yeah, I
That
can
was
see
like-
that. I can see that in a classroom when I'm taking a test.
I'm pretty sure I had something similar on my like a poster on my wall, in like
Yeah.
about 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's so
I've seen this on Pinterest.
it's so pretty. It kind of makes me not like it because it's
Really?
so just perfect almost. The color of the pink with the rose with this whole joy. Joy is kind of a red color to me.
You know what I appreciate though that they used the word joyous and not like imagine whatever makes you happy or like
Yeah.
a happy place, right? Like joy is really the real goal.
Joy.
Yeah.
I like that. With
Oh,
that,
we got some chat. All right.
Well, it's the same person we always get in chat.
Let's take a look. Let's look at the chat. What are they saying? It's true. Younger generations aren't drinking or smoking as much.
or buying cheese.
Okay, what's the cheese problem
That's
here?
right.
I don't
No,
know.
there's been a
As far as
a
I
milk
know, too-
problem too.
As far as I know, too much cheese just makes you constipated.
Oh, is that why?
It's true.
I don't
It's
know.
not good for you. I'm
It says younger generations aren't buying milk either.
yeah. They're
Oh,
learning
we
that
got
dairy is bad
we
for you,
got
but
an
I'm-
active chatter today. Now they just came up with another one
All right.
talking about veganism.
Rise of the
I will say this
vegan.
cheese does bring me joy though. And
Yes, I love dairy.
yeah.
So
cheese,
it's kind of like
chocolate. What's the other?
I've gotten
C?
back into milk.
oh my god.
Just straight up drink milk.
Oh god, that's weird. That is.
It's got plenty of fat and protein that you need
I
for a
could
healthy
not do
diet.
it. My stomach couldn't take it.
It
Well,
also
are you?
creates a tremendous amount of inflammation and mucus in the body.
We know Connor's a milk guy.
Look, I already have
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
milk. I already
should
have
actually
a lot.
be the sponsor for milk. I could see that.
I thought
Milk,
you-
Gerber products, and adult diapers, sponsored by Connor.
Oh,
So-
I'm already full of mucus, so a little extra milk won't harm me.
There you go.
So I'm gonna say yeah, it's pretty. It's the nicest one.
So you're saying you don't like it because it's too perfect?
yeah, it's kind of like a grandma's couch or something. Don't smell it. Don't get too
Grandma's
close.
couch.
But
You could
Don't
definitely
smell it.
find this at Hobby Lobby.
Yep.
like
Mhm.
some
There you go.
decor.
It already exists.
Right
Home
next to the fake
decor.
roses.
For sure.
All right,
Yep.
all right.
So,
So because Jake says we won't be able to make money off of it.
but it is annoying, and I like that. It gets an action out of me. It's a little reaction.
It smells like
I'll
Dove.
go for it. Sure, why not?
Smells like Dove soap. It absolutely does.
So wait, so you're for it now, Jake?
I want to keep it. I don't want to just throw it away, so I'll save it.
I want to keep it.
All right.
So what do y'all say?
I say let's keep it.
All right. We can give it to Grandma.
All right.
Or we'll like it when we're older, maybe.
Ah,
All right. Let's try and do this. I think we can do one more.
Okay, I want something really dark. Let's go. To wash out my
You've
mouth.
just gotten way too
Here it
used to
goes.
the dark robot.
That's right.
International banking regulates how economical entitles
Entities.
Sorry. Someone else should read it.
International banking regulates how economical entities behave rather than assigning how economical entities develop. I hate this one.
Welcome
I
back to
understand
school.
what it says, and I hate it.
This is like if a train leaves the station, right? Like this is.
I don't even want to think
I feel
through
like
this.
I need math.
I'm
I
like
doubt
tired from
economic-
reading this.
I doubt economists are going to watch our show to understand this and want to.
And this isn't even accessible. Look at the two tones between this and this. That,
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
see it as
No,
a
It's
disabled-
more of a statement than anything.
It's something in an economics
a fact.
textbook.
I can't like this. Whatever the opposite of really liking it. That one. I can't get away from this quick enough, to be honest.
I think it's just telling us AI is like, this is what's happening.
And all of
Yeah,
all the
that's
stereotypical
exactly what it is.
couples too. It's the bell curve.
Yeah.
Okay, that one was so bad.
I want to win again. Let's go. Oh God!
I like this.
What is this?
I don't know about the.
I'd
What-
like
what
to
are
meet
these
this girl
called?
named Infinity.
This should be a book. I mean,
the cover of a book.
yeah.
Oh, let's see if we can actually parse out anything from this.
I could tell ChatGPT to write a short story based off of this.
Although I'd probably replace the word slut with like nympho or something.
That's
like
why
that,
it's-
right? Like
It's not a bad word.
Oh wow!
It
no.
depends on how you use it. I mean,
The ethical slut. That's
if you're
a
in the
popular
middle
book.
of it, she might find it She might find it a little hot to get called that.
I'm just thinking, but for the infinity's sake,
Yeah.
that might get a little more action.
I like to
makes
meet
sense.
this person named Infinity.
That's a stripper.
So sounds sexy.
I was like,
Well, let's
if you could
see.
go to the Yellow Rose, you might.
I go.
He's typically.
I don't make enough.
Only
money to
Red
go to
Rose,
the
guys.
Yeah,
Yes,
we got
go-
Red Rose.
Yeah. Damn it, you took my joke.
I think
So
this
let's
was a no-brainer.
think- wait,
Personally,
hold on, let's think about it. So infinity. If you think about the infinity symbol, it's just that sideways 8, so it keeps going
It's
into
two
itself.
boobs.
It's two boobs.
It's two boobs.
So that's-
Entities. Entities.
So that could also go into how it eats her own. It just keeps going into itself.
Correct.
Am I just spouting off stupid
This
bullshit?
is. I didn't think I smoked enough for this one yet.
Well, I don't think it like the background works for it either.
To infinity and beyond.
What's that plane doing?
I mean, maybe
It's-
if it were a rocket ship, that would make sense. But
Yeah,
what is this
I
thing?
agree.
It looks like
I
a
don't know.
crop duster or
He's
what
lost.
are the people that make
That's
the
a contract.
chemtrails?
That's
This is
contrail.
chemtrails. Let's get back to the conspiracies here.
You know what? Just because of how outrageous it is, I love it.
I agree. And I don't see the word slut that often, so it kind of smacks
true.
me in the face.
That's
It's like
true.
a slap word. I don't know.
I love
Should
it.
definitely use it more often.
What do you think,
Normalize.
No,
Mike? Are you a
Yeah.
slut for this poster?
Oh my gosh, Mike, are you a slut for this? I'm gonna take that sample. Use that later.
I already gave my opinion.
All right, I won't ask the same question, but Denise, what do you think of this?
well, I'm easily persuaded. If everyone else is a thumbs up, I'll be a thumbs up as well.
All right, 3 to absent.
All right, I think that counts. That's
We're
a round
keeping
up. You know
what? That was just in time for us to move on to the next segment.
So let me just make sure we've seen all of the rise of the vegan. So that's why we got rid of the cheese. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, and then
No
somewhere.
more cheese.
Smells
Oh.
like Dove soap. She
Well,
must be
you
talking about
started talking.
couches.
Yeah, you start talking about Grandma's couch.
Yep, unscented Dove smells like grandma for sure. Okay, so
Wait, Smells like Dove soap. I shower with Dove soap.
Unscented?
No, not unscented. I got
I
got the white bar. I've used it my entire
All right,
life.
we don't need to know
the
more.
liquid
It
unscented.
moisturizes and it feels
All
so
right,
good.
we don't need-
I hate men's soap. It leaves you feeling leathery.
Oh, great. Leathery.
All right, now let's get to
That's
our
how a
next.
man's supposed to feel.
All right.
Exactly.
Scruff.
While they're not crying.
That's
Says
right.
the least manly man in the room.
How can you?
Man,
How do you
oh.
know?
The most
Yeah, how do
balanced.
you? I have the most manliest job here. You could. I'm a welder. I'm a steel worker.
We don't have time to get back into this argument.
Yeah, it's the hardest job.
At least we got metal on
You
now.
couldn't even handle my job. You would even handle it.
Do you want to talk about it later, though?
You talk about it.
That's, my son is about.
We've already been over how I used to work in a fab
Oh,
shop.
I used to work in a
handling
fab
steel.
shop. I used to work in a warehouse. I'm out there in the field working. It's way different. You don't even understand. You can't even fathom it.
Says the guy who's admitted to only doing his job while high.
Yeah, that's how good I am. That's how good I am at my job.
All right, we're not getting back into.
You can't even do your job sober.
I want to make sure.
First of all, I'm a klutz. So
yeah,
shut
you're
up.
a cuck. I believe that. I believe
Klutz.
that.
Klutz.
How do you all know each other? Are
That's
y'all-
where I was gonna say. How did you meet
How did
him?
this?
She didn't.
I did. I met him.
I
on
sent
the
him
front
an email.
Steps today.
Oh
walking in the door.
wow. Okay, I was about to
Yeah,
say.
It's
trusted
called
that-
reaching out to people.
You saw
Jake.
him online, and you're like, "I'm gonna trust this guy."
Nope.
Fuck.
She didn't even see. She didn't even know what I looked like.
Oh my god, it's even
Smart.
worse.
Smart.
No, that's not true. I did as soon as
I'm sure
you like sent the contact form in. And this is before I had even seen.
Contact form.
Yeah, didn't
I
you?
sent the
Did you?
contact-
Oh no, you emailed us.
Yeah, I emailed.
We do have a contact form.
Yeah,
now.
but
we'll
you,
get to
you
that.
showed me that after.
Yeah,
I
But
already-
how
true.
did you email us? Did you go
through
to,
y'all's through the
through the contact
organization.
form, right? Like on the website.
Y'all had a
Oh,
contact
that
form.
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's how it
Oh
came
yeah,
through, and
we
it came
just
to
got
me.
a contact
Wow.
Yeah.
form recently.
That's correct.
So
So I stalked you.
There we go.
I
She
just
found
wanted-
us.
I'll just say.
Now she
I
knows
was
where we
living-
live.
I did. I went online. I stalked you. I made sure it was. I'm like, are they pranking me? Are they,
Legit.
They bringing us on.
So
like,
you
out of
saw
support or not?
our previous podcast?
Well, you had one at the
Uh-huh.
time. I think there was one.
We have plenty of
two?
videos because this is episode 14.
I wonder if did you send her the Twitch or did you send her the YouTube?
I may have sent her a link to one of our actual
You
episodes.
did.
on
Okay,
You
YouTube.
okay,
did.
gotcha.
I forget which
Yeah.
one.
You did. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
we have previous episodes. We have a
Yeah,
lot.
well, and I've gone back and seen a few now. So yeah, I have gone back and seen a few now, and then I watched Teresa's or Break the Silence last week
Yeah.
or a couple weeks ago, and yeah, it's been 2
I
weeks.
think,
All
I
right.
think she's our biggest fan now. I think she's seen more episodes than
Yeah.
we have.
That's crazy. Well, probably more than I remember.
All right, so let's bring up our second portion of the AI segment,
Okay.
the
here we go.
random question generator.
This is the one I really.
Who has
hate
to
this
answer
one.
this question?
We all
We
do.
usually
Okay,
go
woo.
around. Yeah, we take it
Yeah,
on.
no one gets out of this one.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
see,
ducks, it's
Unless
like it
you're
now.
really clever and can convince us why you shouldn't answer.
This is how they learn. This is how they learn our behavior and stuff.
That's right.
As you
And then it tells the blender, and then I can't fucking like make a smoothie later because it's mad at me.
all right, RQG,
right, what
what
we
do you
got?
have for us today? When was the last time you changed your opinion
Oh.
about something major?
That's a good one.
Oh, that is a thinker.
Hmm.
Who wants to start? Who does anyone have anything that comes to the top of their head, or change your opinion about something major?
See, I didn't change my major when I was in college, so this one's hard.
You're not that high to be talking that stupid, okay?
I just changed mine.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Something major.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, hold on. Since we've now gone to a more generic aspect of the show, so I will say it was the Kyle Rittenhouse whole incident that happened, where I just completely switched from to just decide like there's no reason for any citizen or civilian to own a gun. Like I've just completely abandoned any notion of the Second Amendment
Oh, wow.
outside of military or police.
Wow. You trust the system that much?
No, I just don't. I don't trust.
I have
people
a
any-
gun.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't trust you with it.
Yeah.
I don't trust.
It's
I
not
don't
registered.
trust my fellow citizen to handle it properly. Because we see, like, we're up to what, almost 2 mass shootings a day now in this country.
I don't know. I don't know those metrics.
It's that close. At least 1 a day.
That's wild.
That's where at least 4 people, including
Mass shootings? Like,
Yeah,
is
that's
that
where-
3 or more?
that's 4 or more, including the shooter.
Uh-huh.
Mass killing is if it's 4 or more that die from it.
So you've
I think that has more to say about society than it does about the guns, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do not trust fellow citizens to handle guns properly.
Yeah, so it says more about society than it does about guns. And it says less about, like, just because you put more gun laws, you think guns are going to go away?
Actually, yes, we do have plenty of data on that.
No, I would disagree. Because they still have guns in Australia, and those have been outlawed since 99.
They don't have anywhere near the gun violence we do.
They still have guns. I mean, they don't have enough people. They don't have the same amount of people. It's a different culture, also.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's America of the Southern Hemisphere.
Have you been there?
There's data.
I didn't know you've been there. I forgot you're about your fucking famous travel trip to Australia. My bad.
All this data is on a per capita basis. That means per 100,000 people.
I don't know. Just because, again, I think people are going to either have guns or not going to have guns. So just
no. You can have it to where people can't get their hands on guns.
That kind of flew out of my hand.
All right, so we're getting.
If I want a gun, I'm gonna get a gun.
But that's something you've changed your mind about. So you felt differently about it before.
Well, it kind of like over time was moving in that direction, but that was kind of like the cutoff for me.
I think I got mine. I mean, it's probably not the last time, but definitely early. No, actually, almost. Maybe this is right after college, like my first job time. Me and my buddy went doorbell ditching late night. We're still doing it. It was in like 22, 23. We got in trouble.
That's how you're going to get shot.
We got caught by the cops, and it was stupid. But anyways, they took us in. And that was the first time. They didn't tell us what they were taking us in for.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, we had just drank a huge box of wine, and so we were being silly.
They have to tell you.
Franzia. Yeah.
It's called the Miranda rights.
They didn't, man. I don't see. This is what I got to learn. I got to really see everything from the inside during that thing. They didn't tell me while I was there. I waited 10 hours, like stayed up all night. I was sick to my stomach. What's going on? My buddy, now he was smashed. He was a lightweight, and so he drank a lot of the wine, and he was.
They just
I had to keep him awake
in the drunk tank.
No, well, I guess they call it the drunk tank. Yeah, it's kind of like an airport waiting room with two bathrooms at the front. You got to see the Coke dealer over here talking about how they're going to escape to Brazil, and you got this other cop. That was the first time I'd seen any form of just extreme biases and racism, if you'll call it. People were treating people differently based off of what they look like, and it sucked. So I lost any type of faith, kind of, in where the system really gets, and I was just like really let down. But so I'll say I changed my mind about, I guess law enforcement
about
a
how
little
the
bit.
system works.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of integrity from what I saw, and that was unfortunate. And so now I might be more okay to lie to a cop just to not deal with it because I don't trust him.
I thought you were already lying to cops.
I don't like to lie, man.
Given your hobbies.
Hobbies? No way. They don't talk to me much. I don't talk to them.
All right.
Except, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. How can I help you? Goodbye.
All right, Mike. Now, other than trying to keep the cops from smelling the inside of your car.
I don't smoke in my car.
Come on. We all agree to answer these questions.
I never agreed to that.
Come on.
I don't have anything. To quit egging me on.
There's got to be something.
No, dude. You're annoying.
It's called show content.
It's called being annoying.
Ding, 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 ding. I'll get the music cued next time. Okay, guys. I'll get that wrestling music.
There's no major opinion on anything you've ever changed in your 30 years of being alive.
I guess not, no.
In this whole show, I've named at least 2.
Congratulations.
The AI isn't trying to take your information.
I guess we're going to have the show come to a standstill.
All right, let's pass. Otherwise, we're at an impasse.
Oh, now our chatter's telling me to let it go.
You got. All right.
Only because I respect that chatter more than either of you, I'll listen to them.
All right, you're now the hero, chat. You have to save every show, so make sure to keep watching.
That is a lot of pressure.
I know. We need the help, so here we go.
All right,
well,
so let's
think, Denise?
let's go ahead.
Oh gosh, well, that is a tough question. That's a hard one. Okay, I'm gonna go deep a little bit. I think the thing that I have personally, I know, right? that I've changed my mind on recently, and this is coming from a true hardcore Scorpio, y'all.
Oh, you're a Scorpio.
Please tell me
Which
you're not.
month is that?
You're not actually an
That's why
astrology
I feel
person.
the energy.
I am, and
I'm a Taurus.
forgiveness and trust. Those are real hard things for us, and I recently have really been working on forgiveness, which is something that before I was just like, you fucked up, too bad,
Okay.
right? Like, let's move on, right?
Yeah.
And should have learned, whatever. But yeah, that's something and it's fresh, it's new. This is really new for me.
Did you face the hardest one to forgive?
Well, I mean, it's a long list
I bet.
because you do a Scorpio wrong, and that you only get one chance, and so anyway, so it's a pretty long list. But no, I'm doing the whole mental health thing, and and working on myself, and unpacking some things, and so I'd probably say the biggest one is forgiving like myself. That's a big one, and then just some people too that I probably should have offered a little grace to, and really looked into like their story and what was their situation versus just cutting it off, and then having to be honest with that. And, and like it's been actually pretty therapeutic. It's been pretty good. Yeah.
We are best critics.
A lot of growth. Yeah.
Our harshest critics, I guess, is.
All right, we
Ourselves.
got just enough time for one last question.
Oh, because that one was an easy one. Okay.
Well, maybe it'll give us a fun one.
No pressure, Michael.
Okay.
Great.
Let's see what we got. Okay, AI, beep, pop, beep, pop.
Who are some of your heroes?
Goodness. I think I have a list right there.
Really?
Jesus is on top. Don't remember, you can love me too.
Oh, that reminds me of something I thought of earlier.
What's that?
You could just have, for all the hardcore Christian people, just tell them Jesus was asexual.
He was asexual?
Supposedly, he never had sex or never had a relationship.
That's what I currently believe. You got the Mary Magdalene side story that could even go into King Arthur conspiracies. We'll save it.
It's just a joke. It's just a rebuttal they can throw
Oh,
back.
I liked it.
But he also hung out with predominantly prostitutes.
Yeah, he liked to
people
party.
12
homeless.
guys.
Back then, majority of the prostitutes were actually gay men.
Oh, really?
Or transgender. So I mean,
Wow.
actually, really and truly, he's our people.
I like him.
He's an ally.
He
at
didn't
the very
mention
least.
homosexuality as far as I know anywhere in his words.
Yeah.
At least the human.
I do have a couple of heroes, but it's actually difficult to talk about because of religious reasons. I'm not supposed to talk positively or negatively about politicians.
Uh-huh.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that, it's difficult because I got to avoid that. But I have two right away. Screw it. Both of the Roosevelts.
Okay. I don't know too much about
either.
them.
The presidents.
Right. Know of them. What made them your heroes?
Like I said, for religious reasons, I can't really. It's
Okay.
I'm not really supposed to go into details.
Okay.
Or
But those are your heroes.
Just like it's a whole thing in of itself. So
Well, that's fascinating.
that's probably a
mysterious.
conversation for another time.
Well, excellent. I'll put it on the list.
So, other than Jesus,
Oh, Ace Ventura. I mean, I know he's I heard one person once told me he's not okay. He was a womanizer, kind of.
we're
and,
definitely talking about the character, not Jim Carrey.
We're talking about Jim Carrey. Actually, just I really
That's a good
found him
hero.
so funny, and all the characters were so ridiculous. All the faces, all the noises. That as a kid, I really loved it.
You're not about to start singing with your butt, are you?
Dude, I don't start, man. I've been doing that my whole life. I'm first chair butt trumpet, man. So yeah, for me, we can just say Jim Carrey. I mean, I got Boba Fett up there and Knuckles from Sonic. Spaghetti.
So
I love spaghetti. What a
so
hero.
other than Jesus,
Such a
all
comfort.
your heroes are just fictional characters.
He said. Oh, I like how you said that. That's funny. No, I guess I put Bobby Kennedy up there, but that's a lot has come out of him since then. So that could
Bobby
be
Kennedy?
another whole conversation.
We're talking about senior, not
Yeah.
junior, right?
I was always confused. Why did you say Bobby Kennedy?
I can't even remember. I must have watched
Because
something.
I remember
and,
writing. Why did you say Bobby Kennedy?
I can't remember. Who's the Kennedy who's running for Democratic president?
I have
that's
no
his
idea.
son. That's Bobby Kennedy.
Okay, so I think I must have saw
That's-
something.
that's
And
Bobby
he's
Jr.
assassinated. What happened there? Because
I don't remember. I thought he was shot down in a plane or his plane crashed. I don't know.
I think Bobby Kennedy was assassinated.
okay, Ace Ventura and Daft Punk. Let's just say those. Those are some of my heroes.
Yeah, I can see how you're trying to be like Daft Punk in your music.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
DJ Light. Probably. Wait, I don't have the poster in here, but little robot
For
people.
all these instruments, is this all you?
This is us. This is the band, but pretty much, yeah. This is the life.
Oh,
Are y'all
our
in the
chatter
band?
loves how
Oh yeah.
Jake.
Me and Jake are in a band, and then
So,
there's several projects that happen in this house.
Nice.
So
I
I,
like
just
the
want to say
creativity.
our chatter loves how you said spaghetti was one of your heroes.
Oh yeah, spaghetti. Definitely.
Spaghetti is probably the best hero.
What a
Italian
hero.
food in general, you could say, is a good hero.
Hey, Mike, do you love the flying spaghetti monster? Okay, then you're not in on the joke.
You're not. What
We
do
don't
they call
have
that
to-
Rastafarian or something?
No,
You
not
don't know
Pastafarian.
Pastafarian.
Oh, a pastafarian.
All right. So
What's a
let's
Pastafarian?
it's kind of a troll on
Yeah.
religion.
This flying spaghetti monster in space. And
Oh.
that's your god, basically.
Oh.
It's a joke.
Let me hear him out.
Yeah, you should. What's for dinner?
You might have to wear a colander on your head.
I do all the time. It's way
All
more
right.
comfortable than aluminum. I'll say that.
All right, so let's throw the question over to Mike, see if we can get an answer out of him. Mike, do you have any heroes like Dimebag Darrell or Cheech and Chong, Willie Nelson, Snoop
Don't
Dogg?
disrespect Dime.
He's been thinking about that one for a second,
Don't
wasn't he?
disrespect
Actually,
Dime.
I did not
Yeah,
have
he
to
was.
think
Oh,
about
you were
that.
just riffing?
Oh,
That was good.
stayed up all night thinking that.
Uh-huh.
You got to have someone.
Someone, yeah. I don't know. I can't think of one on the spot.
You're really doing this, aren't you?
I don't know. He said a good one. Jim Carrey. That was a good one.
Oh, nice, man. That guy who paints his face and does the band covers, whoever that is.
You
Oh,
gotta
that's a
be
good
way
guy.
more
I
specific.
like that. 2
He-
minutes
he-
to late night. That's a good guy.
Because
2
you
minutes
just
to late
said just paints his face, and I thought of Blue Man Group and Kiss.
Close.
So that
Yeah.
it's close to that.
This guy's pretty cool. He just
What? Who else is there?
There's a bunch of people that paint their face.
2 minutes to midnight, man.
Never heard of him. All right, since we're not going to get any participation in this from Mike,
I participated.
He told us.
no.
I did say it in fair warning. I did say. I tell y'all every episode.
Yeah, in every episode you used to participate. All right, let's.
Honor is an Egger honor, dude. God, you are annoying. Fuck.
Show director.
Show director of being fucking
You
annoying.
got to work on a Sunday, man.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Denise, why don't you wrap up the show for us?
Oh man. So many. I don't know. I actually have a lot of heroes. Female heroes, LGBTQ heroes, political heroes, but I think probably the person that's like most inspiring me right now is do you know who Brene Brown is?
Mm-mm.
No one.
No, who's that?
Y'all should look up Brene Brown. She's
Well, I see.
Just to be clear, you're saying Rene or Brene?
Brene.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, there you go.
Who's Brene Brown?
That's Brene Brown.
Who's
yep.
that?
So she's a researcher and an author, and she has a podcast and.
Oh, really?
She has tons of things, tons of research, but she's also, most important, like her books really, really inspire me. But she has one that I'm reading right now, and it's called Braving the Wilderness. And it's about like being authentic and like not being afraid to stand alone and like fight for, stand in your authenticity and fight for the things you believe in. And a lot of times that you have to end up, that becomes an island, right?
Is she almost like a philosopher, or is she?
I could say that. Yeah. She's just she's incredible, and she's just like she's a Texas girl, and she cusses a
really?
lot, and even though
So she's
she's
fun.
just she's a
Okay.
professor, and she's just really real, and it's not all foo foo.
It's all about being like the most authentic you can be.
Absolutely, yeah. And she's
Okay,
just
cool.
really brilliant. Like she's just but
Yeah, that's like Joseph Campbell. Do you know who Joseph Campbell is?
I know the name, but no, tell me more.
Joseph Campbell is like an old philosopher.
Mhm.
He has a bunch of books and stuff like that. He's dead now, but I think he died like 93 or.
Is that one of your heroes, Mike?
It's a guy, but he's a philosopher and he's fucking great. I have like he's the guy that made the Follow Your Bliss thing, and I have it
Oh.
on my chest.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I just
And
want to
it's
say,
just
real quick, he looks like John Noble. Go back, he looks like John Noble, the actor. That, especially that bottom right picture right there.
I don't know who that is.
Y'all know about John Noble?
Nah.
Okay, we can get into the whole other conversation.
Next episode.
But yeah, he's a cool guy. You should look him up. He's got a lot of good philosophy and like just telling you like, you know, be who you ought to be. That's his main thing, and like trying to find happiness while also like, you know, maintaining a regular life. You know what I mean? You can't always like follow your dreams, you know. Yeah, like you follow your dreams, but like to what standard? You know what I mean? Like, you know, you got to have some goals. You have to hold like a job. But I mean, like if you're losing your sanity at your job, you should probably find another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It sounds like you would like Brene as well.
Yeah,
that's why they sound pretty similar.
Yeah, they do. So I'm probably gonna look her up later.
Absolutely.
She sounds like the modern day version of
totally. Yeah.
Which is cool. And I'm
She's a
probably
badass.
looking up to her podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Joseph Peterson and stuff like
I
that?
don't know who that is.
Oh.
I'll be honest, y'all. I mean, between, you know, all the jobs and also being a
that's his
full-time
name.
student and mom and all
Right.
the things, like I don't get a lot of time to do a bunch of
No,
radio
I'm
and
sure.
TV, you know, but if it's not like on a, you know, something I can listen to in the car or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, but I will definitely look at. Tell me the second name again.
I forgot
The
it.
podcast you were just telling me.
What's
Let's
his name?
see.
What did I
Joseph-
say?
You're talking
What'd you say?
Joseph Campbell?
You said Joseph Campbell, and then you just asked me about another podcast.
Oh, dude.
I write it down.
It's on the list.
That's-
We can check it.
That's
Check
we can
that
go
tape.
back and watch.
You can go back.
I guess,
I forgot about one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right.
All right.
Well, we've pretty much come around to. You came in at the last second, Jesse. So we've basically come up. We're on the. We're past the
That's
second
right.
hour.
We've done it, guys. We've done a
All
great show
right.
today.
Well, Denise, I'd like to thank you for coming on and talking with us today.
Thanks for having me.
We wish the best of luck to your organization. It's really needed in this time. And to everyone watching, I don't got anything. Just have a good time.
That's right. Enjoy your Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next time. Be back here in 2 weeks.
And like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you got to do, wherever you see us. Let's get that algorithm in our favor.
That's right. Thank you.
And
Thank you,
come
Denise.
to Taylor on June 24th.
And what, June?
I thought you said it
Third?
was 3rd.
June 3rd is our kickoff event, but the actual festival is June 24th from 2 to 10.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We'll put those details in the video description.
Awesome.
And yeah, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Great show.